Good day, everyone. Welcome to Deku Universe. Today we are beginning part 1 of What If Deku Had Wolf Mutation Quirk. The fanfiction is created by Freddy Doom 5 on Wattpad. Now let's begin. All Might stood tall, steam rising from his body, but he didn't care. His students were safe, and the threat of that monstrous Nomu had been dealt with. He turned to face the remaining villains, the ones who dared endanger his students. All Might in a booming voice, "What now, villains? You failed to kill me, and I still stand. So what now?" Tomura scratched at his neck, visibly irritated. Tomura's thoughts? What the hell? How is he still this strong? Sensei said he was weaker, but wait, he's steaming, and he didn't spawn here. That means, Tomura whispered to himself, his time limit is up. If we push now, we might actually kill the final boss. Smirking, Tomura barked, "Kurogiri, bring in Omega." Kurogiri's eyes widened within a mist. "Young MSTR, we can't. He's not meant to be used yet. Still in testing. He's only fought pros one-on-one, never many at once. And the UA staff won't be far. He can't take on all of them." Kurogiri hesitated. He didn't know why he cared so much, but Omega was different, like a child at times. And Kurogiri, created to be a caretaker, had found solace in the young Nomu. Omega listened when he needed to talk. There was something pure about him, innocent even, and Kurogiri didn't want him hurt. Tomura cut him off. "Sensei said use what we have. He never said I couldn't use Omega." Kurogiri wanted to protest, but sighed in defeat and opened a warp gate. Kurogiri, "Yes?" MSTR Tomura. From the swirling mist stepped a hulking, wolf-like beast taller than All Might himself. His body was massive and muscular, covered in dark green fur. Chains dangled from cuffs on his arms and legs. His hands and feet ended in claws. Golden yellow eyes scanned the battlefield, then froze on All Might. There was something familiar. Omega turned to Tomura, awaiting orders. Tomura smirked. "Omega, kill All Might." Omega's ears twitched. His fingers curled. His tail snapped once. And then he charged. All Might didn't move. He'd hit his limit. Then boom. An explosion slammed into Omega. "Get the hell away from All Might. You F********. Omega turned. His eyes went wide. Then BLD red with rage. Katsuki Bakugo and Izumi Midoriya stood there in their hero costumes. And then pain. Memories. Worthless. Useless. Deku. He remembered being beaten. Burned. Scarred. Hated. Why were you born? Voices screamed in his head. Pain echoed. He broke from command. Omega charged the two. A bone blade burst from his arm, just missing Izumi. Another explosion. He dodged it and slammed Katsuki with a brutal punch. Then claws raked across Bakugo's chest. He screamed, BLD spraying. Omega didn't stop. He slashed again, and again, and again. Katsuki bled from arms and chest. Omega grabbed his head and slammed it into the ground. Once, twice, 15 times. Bakugo lay still, unconscious. Then Omega turned to Izumi. Snarling, he raised a claw and licked the BLD from it, then charged. Izumi fired 2 molten metal balls straight through Omega's chest. The wounds healed instantly. A blade of bone cut clean through Izumi's right hand. She screamed, and then he spoke. "Omega, Izumi, Izumi," gasping. How? Did you can't know my name?" Omega, voice full of venom. "Deku." Izumi's eyes widened. "What?" Omega. "Who's weak now, old Deku? Who's the freak?" His words became less beastly, more human. Omega roared, "Izumi, you did this to me. You made my life hell for being quirkless. Now I'll kill you. You'll die a worthless DKU." He activated his muscle augmentation, X3, adrenaline surge, quadruped speed, stone shift, and iron bloom quirks, charging Izumi with pure rage. He struck her as she once struck him. All he saw was red. Everyone else was frozen. UA students, staff, even the villains. The bloodlust was overwhelming. But one person broke through it. Random voice, "Kendo don't." But Itsuka Kendo didn't listen. She heard what the Nomo had said, and, if it was true, Itsuka ran forward. Izuku, stop! Omega froze. BLD soaked first shifted as he turned to her. His voice was soft. WHAT? Kendo moved closer, eyes filled with tears. Itsuka, please. Izuku, stop this. He stared at her, then gripped his head. More memories returned. Omega's voice cracked. Kendo. He howled in agony. His name, his life, his truth, unlocked. Tears poured from his eyes, now emerald green once more. Itsuka smiled through tears. Izuku. She ran forward, but then gray goo poured from his mouth, covering his whole body. Tamura and Kurogiri were too stunned to act as the same happened to them. Itsuka, no, not again. Omega looked at her, crying. Omega, I'm sorry. Those were the last words he spoke, before the goo consumed him. And Izuku Midoriya vanished. All for one, enraged. How'd he escape my control? Kurogiri, who was rarely shaken, now stood rigid with unease. He had seen his MSTR angry before, but this was something else. Rage fueled by fear. Kurogiri, voice cautious. MSTR, please calm yourself. Rage will cloud your actions. All for one slowly turned his head toward him. Though his face was featureless beneath the dark mask, his sheer presence screamed fury. The doctor's voice crackled through a speaker. MSTR, we don't have time to lose composure. We must reapply the mind control quirk immediately before Omega destroys the facility or the other Nomo. All for one exhaled, slowly regaining composure. All for one, you're right, Doctor. If he's truly broken free, we can't risk him remembering everything. He turned to Kurogiri. All for one, warp us to the containment chamber. I overexerted myself earlier. This vessel won't survive another long-range warp. Kurogiri, hesitating briefly, then bowed. As you command. A purple portal opened, and the three stepped through into a shattered underground room, filled with rubble and glowing chains. There, bound to the center of the room, was Omega. The massive, wolf-like Noma knelt in silence, his breathing low but heavy. Quirk-canceling chains radiated a dull blue glow, binding his limbs and anchoring him to the cracked floor. The room itself seemed to vibrate from his mere presence. All for one approached slowly, footsteps echoing in the silence. All for one, you fought hard, didn't you, Izuku? Omega stirred slightly. Omega. ALL. All for one chuckled darkly. All for one, still clinging to that name? You're not. Izuku Midoriya. You're my creation now. Omega. He reached forward, not with his hand open, but with both hands reaching toward Omega's head. All for one, now sleep and forget. Again. But before he could grasp Omega's skull, Omega moved. Faster than anyone had expected. With a feral snarl, he lunged forward and bit into All for One's wrist, BLD gushing into his mouth. All for One howled in pain, but it was already too late. The moment the BLD hit his tongue, something ancient and monstrous inside Omega awakened. Power surged through his body, hundreds of quirks, all absorbed and claimed as his own. His original quirk, consumption, began to evolve into something far more terrifying. Omega's body expanded, his already massive frame becoming even more monstrous. His muscle mass swelled. Jagged bone spikes erupted from his arms, back, and legs. His claws gleamed with unnatural sharpness. He stood, taller, deadlier, unstoppable. Omega, voice guttural and wrathful. All for one, die. He roared and activated his strength and speed-enhancing quirks. Before All for One could react, a colossal punch sent him flying through several walls in a blur of crushed steel and shattering concrete. Omega turned, eyes blazing with fury, and faced Kurogiri. Stepping toward him, he gently placed a clawed hand on the Kurogiri chest. The glow of quirks, mind control, memory suppression, flared for a second, then snuffed out like candles in the wind. Kurogiri, voice shaking. What? What did you just do? Omega, voice weakening. Efried. Then, his monstrous frame trembled. Bones cracked. Fur receded. The spikes withdrew. Omega collapsed, his body shrinking down, until he was no longer a beast, but a battered, half-conscious 15-year-old boy with wolf-like traits. Kurogiri caught him as he fell. Kurogiri. Omega. Izuku. Izuku, barely able to speak. Kurogiri. Without another word, Kurogiri's mist whirled and expanded around them, and with a final pulse of energy, they vanished into the darkness. 1 week later, it had been a week since Izuku and Kurogiri, now fully aware of his past as Oboro Shirakumo, escaped from All for One. Inside an old, long-abandoned cabin once used by him and his father, Oboro paced, wrestling with uncertainty. Currently, in his mist form, the signature purple haze had faded to a soft, light blue. Oboro's voice a bit panicked. What am I supposed to do? I can't go back as Oboro Shirakumo, but I can't stay Kurogiri either. One is supposed to be dead, and the other's a villain. What now? The cabin creaked quietly, untouched by time and memory. Dust covered every surface, but it was shelter, a place to think. Oboro and Izuku, he's still out cold. I hope he'd wake up by now. But I can't just sit here. I need to get him help. He turned toward the bed where Izuku lay, breathing steadily in deep sleep. Oboro watched him with concern etched in the shifting mist of his form. Oboro, come on, Shirakumo, pull yourself together. Think, who would help us now? Who knows the truth about All for One? A sudden realization struck him. Oboro, wait. All for One mentioned Nezu. And Nezu, he's the smartest person I know. That's it. Oboro straightened, a plan forming in the haze. Oboro, I'll go to UA. Wargate works as long as I know the exact location. I'll appear as Kurogiri. Wait, no. This is Nezu we're talking about. He thrives on chaos. He might actually hear me out. He walked over to Izuku's bedside, resting a gentle hand on his shoulder. Oboro, I'll be back. People like us, we need each other. With that, his mist deepened into its familiar purple hue, and he vanished through a swirling warped gate. Destination: UA? I'm just going to type UA from now on. Inside UA, Nezu sat with the other UA staff, going over the aftermath of the USJ incident. Nezu, all right, we've covered most of the key points from the USJ. Now let's move on to the main topic, specifically the Nomus. More precisely, Omega. A photo of Omega appeared on the screen. The staff collectively shuddered at the sight of the monstrous figure. Nezu, Omega arrived after the main Nomu was defeated by All Might. Curiously, it appeared as though the warper, Kurogiri, was reluctant to bring him. A brief audio recording played, capturing Kurogiri and Tamura's exchange before it was paused. Nezu, Kurogiri stated that Omega was still in testing, and yet he was deployed specifically against 2 students, Izumi Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. Both sustained serious injuries. Based on Omega's words and what young Kendo recounted, there's a connection, and I found it. Though it was difficult to read Nezu's emotions due to his animalistic features, the heaviness in the room told everyone he was both angry and heartbroken. He pressed a button, and a photo appeared alongside a name, Izuku Midoriya. Vlad King. Wait, Midoriya? As in Izumi Midoriya? Are they related? He had been present at the USJ, injured but not as severely as Aizawa. Nezu, yes. They're twins. Izuku Midoriya was quirkless. According to Detective Tsukachi's report from his interrogation with young Kendo, she and Izuku were close friends before her family moved away. Shortly after she left, his mother, Inko Midoriya, passed away. That loss devastated him. Nezu's voice grew quieter, more solemn. Nezu, her death was the breaking point. But it wasn't the only weight he carried. For years, Izuku had been relentlessly bullied by his own sister, Izumi Midoriya, and his former best friend, Katsuki Bakugo. The constant emotional abuse, isolation, and grief combined, and it became too much. At only 12 years old, Izuku ended his life. The room fell into stunned silence. The idea that a child, a student, had been crushed under so much pain that he took his own life was almost too much to process. Nezu, but I believe there's still a chance to save him. At the USJ, Kendo's presence stirred something in him. He showed recognition. He fought back against the control. For a moment, he was himself. Then he was warped away. Nezu's tone turned firm. Nezu, our priority now is identifying his location. If we can do that, we may have a shot at finding and saving the boy. We know Nomas based on the first are typically mindless husks, but Omega showed clear thought. I believe young Kendo may be our best option to reach him. That won't be necessary. All heads turned toward the voice. Emerging from the shadows was none other than Kurogiri of the League of Villains. Instantly, the staff readied for battle. All Might powered up without hesitation. But then, Kurogiri raised both hands. Kurogiri, I surrender. I came here to turn myself in. Everything I know, I'll share freely. All I ask is that you hear me out. I didn't choose this life. It was forced on me. Nezu glanced toward Naomasa. Naomasa, he's telling the truth. He's really here to surrender. Midnight, cautiously. What do you mean forced on you? Kurogiri, because I wasn't born as Kurogiri. The name was given to me by All for One, when he made me like this. You see, I am a Nomu, created from a dead body, reanimated and stuffed with quirks. All Might, All for One, he's still alive? Kurogiri, sighing yes. He survived your battle. I know your quirk, All Might. I overheard All for One ranting about it to the doctor. As for me, I'm what's known as a high-end Nomu. We retain thought, strategy, fragments of who we once were. But Omega and I were different. We're fully sentient. Yet we were shackled by memory suppression and mind control quirks. The staff was stunned into silence. Midnight. Then, who are you? Instead of answering, the mist around Kurogiri's face began to disperse, revealing a face so familiar it sent shockwaves through the room. Midnight tearfully, no, it can't be. Present Mike shocked. No way. You're dead. We saw your body. With a trembling smile, Oboro, the man they thought long gone, nodded, eyes welling up. Oboro, it's really me. Midnight ran to him, embracing him tightly, sobbing. Present Mike soon followed, choking back tears. One by one, the staff moved to welcome their lost friend back with hugs and quiet words. Nezu, wiping a tear from his eye. Shirakumo, it's so good to see you again. Oboro, now with soft, light blue mist swirling gently around him, did his best to smile. Oboro, thank you, Principal Nezu, sir. But I had to come. I need to bring Izuku here before All for One finds him. Nezu, then let's not waste any time. With that, Oboro opened a portal and brought Izuku into the room. He was still unconscious. Oboro's concern deepened. Oboro, still? He's been out for a whole week. Recovery girl, let me examine him. Can you warn me to my office? Oboro, sure. If it's still where I remember, then yeah. Recovery girl, of course it is. Why does that matter? Oboro, because Warp Gate works through coordinate-based warping. If I know the exact location, I could get us anywhere. As they talked about the League and All for One, a new ray of light began to shine. A new day was here, a new life was waiting. Itsuka Kendo hadn't slept. Not a wink. Not since the USJ. Izuku. That name echoed in her mind, a constant, aching presence. All she could think about was him. Her Izuku. Sakura, Itsuka's mother Itsuka. Honey, can you come downstairs, please? Her voice was gentle, but carried a weight behind it. Itsuka groggily sat up. Dark bags rested under her eyes, and her normally neat orange hair hung wild and untamed around her face. She hadn't even bothered tying it back. She moved like a ghost, barely aware of her surroundings, her body running on nothing but numb determination. When she reached the bottom of the stairs, she stopped cold. There, in her living room, stood Vlad King, his arm in a cast. Beside him was Principal Nezu, and with them, a tall man with mist-like light blue hair and glowing golden eyes. There was something oddly familiar about him, something she couldn't place. Itsuka blinked. Itsuka startled. Vlad-sensei? Principal Nezu? And, are you a new staff member? The mist-haired man gave a sheepish smile. Oboro, kind of. I'm your new teacher and transport specialist. Name's Oboro Shirakumo. Nice to meet you. He gave a respectful bow before sitting back down on the couch. Itsuka, blinking in confusion. Wait, like, Midnight Sensei? Oboro softly. She's my wife. Itsuka's eyes widened in disbelief. Itsuka, but she said you died. In a villain attack. Oboro looked down, his expression dimming. Oboro, I did. But my body was taken by the League. They turned me into something else. A high-end Nomu. The room fell into stunned silence. Itsuka shocked, eh? Nomu? The words hit like thunder, but then something clicked. Something ignited in her chest. Hope. Itsuka whispering, growing louder. If you were with the League, then do you know where Izuku is? Her eyes were wide and brimming with desperation. Every fiber of her being trembled with the need for an answer. Nezu gently cleared his throat. Nezu, that's exactly why we're here. Please take a seat, young Kendo. Still stunned, she sat beside her parents. Nezu, as you know, the USJ incident was not something we ever wanted our students to experience. But from that chaos, something extraordinary happened. Something saved 2 lives. Itsuka confused. What do you mean, sir? Nezu looked directly into her eyes. Nezu, you young Kendo. You brought back Izuku Midoriya and Oboro Shirakumo. Because of you, they are alive and free. The words barely left his lips before they hit her like a wave. Itsuka voice breaking, he's back? Nezu nodding, yes. He's back, though still unconscious. He's been asleep for over a week, but he's safe now. Recovering. And he'll need help when he wakes. Her parents went still with shock. Haruki, Itsuka's father, wait. What happened to him? Itsuka didn't say much, and we didn't want to push her. Itsuka blushed, realizing how wrecked she looked, especially in front of her teachers. Vlad King, I can't say much, but Oboro knows more than I do. Oboro nodding. As I said, I'm technically a Nomu, but unlike most, I kept my mind. So did Izuku. We're what the League calls high-end. Smarter, stronger, able to retain our thoughts. Most hold 4 to 6 quirks. But Izuku, he had over 15 quirks before we escaped. The Kendo family stared at him, stunned. Itsuka, 15? How? Oboro, more than 15. Plus his BRTH quirk. Time seemed to freeze. Itsuka quietly. His BRTH quirk? But Izuku was quirkless. Oboro gently. That's what everyone thought. But no, he had a quirk all along. Oboro explained everything. Izuku's hidden quirk. How All for One took him. The experiments. The mind control. And how they escaped. How he, Kurogiri, finally remembered who he was. Oboro, that's all of it. Tears flowed freely down Itsuka's face. Itsuka crying, trembling. He's back. He's really back. Sakura through sobs. We thought we lost him forever. Haruki voice thick with emotion. Thank you for telling us. Ever since the reports of his death, nothing's been the same. I saw that boy as one of my own. When Inko died, we were going to take him in, but something stopped us. And then, he couldn't finish. But he didn't have to. They all understood. After a long, quiet moment, Nezu wiped his eyes and smiled. Nezu, would you like to see him? The answer was immediate. All 3 kendos, yes. After a bit, they are ready to go. Itsuka took some time to clean herself up, though the bags under her eyes were still there, but no one really cared. Oboro opened a warp gate, and they walked through and enter UA. UA Medical Wing a few hours prior. Izuku lay fast asleep in the medical bed, his body surrounded by a quiet symphony of soft beeps and rhythmic mechanical whirs. IVs ran into his arms, sensors gently stuck to his chest and temples. Advanced medical monitors traced every breath, every heartbeat. Recovery Girl sat nearby like a hawk, her eyes flickering constantly between the boy and the vitals monitor. She checked his stats every few minutes, never once letting her guard down. She muttered softly under her breath as she adjusted a few readings. Recovery Girl, murmuring, he seems stable, physically, but his body's still adjusting to all those quirks. Must be part of his BRTH quirk, whatever it truly is. Her eyes drifted to the dormant wolf traits still visible on him. The elongated canines, the faint fur pattern along his forearms, the feral slits in his eyelids that twitched occasionally in his sleep. Recovery girl frowning. Odd. The active quirks are dormant, yet these traits remain. Only the passive ones like his reinforced bones are still functioning. But she turned toward a nearby device, projecting quirk patterns like overlapping constellations. One glowed brighter, darker, twisted and tangled. Her expression tightened. Recovery girl grim. He has all for one, but it's not the same. It's been fused, melded with his BRTH quirk. Like it was tailored to him. He's powerful, no doubt about that. But if what Nezu discovered is true, she placed a hand gently on the edge of the bed, eyes filled with worry. Recovery girl softly. Then this boy will need more than healing. He'll need therapy. A lot of it. Hound Dog will have his work cut out for him. The door opened with a quiet click. All Might stepped into the room, his tall form slightly hunched, a familiar weight pressing down on his shoulders. His eyes scanned the room, landing on Izuku, and for a moment they softened. All Might quietly, "Chio, how is he?" Recovery girl gently. Physically, remarkably stable. His body's adapting, syncing with the quirks inside him. He should wake within a few hours, hopefully. All Might took a few slow steps forward, his gaze never leaving Izuku's sleeping form. All Might voice heavy. "I knew All for One was a monster, but to do this to a child. To that boy." He clenched his fists, jaw tight. "All Might, it just reminds me how badly I failed him." Chio looked up at him with a steady gaze, firm but kind. "Recovery girl, Tashinori, what happened to this young man is not your fault. I know you carry that guilt, but we all misjudged All for One. We should have known. He wouldn't go quietly. We all should have been more prepared." She looked back at Izuku, voice softer now. "Recovery girl, but in a strange, twisted way, if All for One had truly died, this young man wouldn't be here. He'd be gone." Silence settled between them like a shared burden. All Might quietly, "You're right. He's alive. He's here. And now he needs help, the kind I can give." He paused, glancing at her, as if weighing something in his heart. All Might murmuring, "No, I'll think about that later." Chio raised an eyebrow, catching the hesitation. "Recovery girl, Toshi, were you thinking about?" All Might nodding, "Yes. I won't deny it. That boy, his heart is pure. It always was. Once he's healed, truly healed, I'll ask him. If he refuses, so be it, but if not..." He looked down, the shadow of a smile tugging at the edge of his lips. "All Might, then I'll pass it to him. And if not, I'll ask Melissa. Or young Togata." He turned to Izuku again, eyes glassy but warm. All Might softly, "But something tells me he won't refuse." A few hours later, the sound of quiet footsteps echoed in the sterile halls of the medical wing as the Kendo family arrived, led gently by Itsuka, her hand tight around her mother's. They stopped at the doorway, eyes falling on the figure in the hospital bed. Izuku lay still, his body now fully healed but altered. The overwhelming beast-like appearance he once bore had faded. In his place was a boy. No, a young man. Lean and scarred, his wild green hair splayed around lupin ears and subtle patches of fur. His hands bore faint claws, his features sharp and animalistic, but he looked peaceful. Itsuka quietly. "Izuku?" Recovery girl turned with a soft smile, hands tucked behind her back like a grandmother, standing guard. Recovery girl, "Oh good. You're all here. He'll be waking up soon. But before our young wolf stirs, there are some things we need to discuss." They all slowly took seats. Nezu, ever calm with a cup of tea, seemingly conjured from the void. Oboro sitting close with arms folded, and the Kendos sharing glances of both worry and hope. Recovery girl's gaze landed on Oboro first. "Recovery girl, Shirakumo, I have to ask again. Are you and Namiri sure about this? Looking after him isn't going to be easy." Oboro leaned back, a crooked, heartfelt smile on his face. "Oboro, kid saved my life. I owe him. Namiri and I talked about it. We're not just fine with it. We want to be there for him." Sakura confused. "Wait, what do you mean? Take care of him?" "Oboro, for Izuku's safety, He needs guardianship, someone close. His father is off the table, and he can't leave UA. Nim, and I already live on campus. It just made sense. Sakura softly. I can't say I'm surprised. Oboro grinning. You can visit any time. Dorms are getting added soon anyway. He'll be surrounded by friends. Haruki exhaled, resting a hand on his knee. Haruki, as long as we're allowed to see him, that's all I ask. Itsuka said nothing, her eyes locked on Izuku's sleeping face. She quietly took his hand into hers, gently squeezing. Recovery girl cleared her throat, tone shifting. Recovery girl, now to the important matters. First, his physical health. He's fine, more than fine. In fact, his regeneration is remarkable. But mentally, he's scarred. Everyone looked up, some with a frown, others with a breath held. Recovery girl continuing, PTSD is likely. His time as Omega, the things he endured and did, they left wounds we can't see. He'll start therapy with Hound Dog immediately. But it won't be enough. He'll need his friends, his family. Nezu nodded, sipping his tea silently, his eyes never leaving Izuku. The Kendos all shared solemn glances. Recovery girl, now about his quirk. She walked over to the console, pulling up a diagram that pulsed with glowing quirk signatures. Complex, woven, unlike anything natural. Recovery girl. As some of you may know, his BRTH quirk allows him to permanently copy quirks. But something's changed. It fused with a quirk called All for One, a terrifying ability that lets its user steal and give quirks by touch. But in Izuku's case, the fusion evolved. She looked up, tone serious. Recovery girl. He can now give quirks without losing them. They become part of his DNA. His body is adapting them, merging them, sometimes combining them into new abilities just to save space. That's why he's been asleep so long. His body needed to survive the transformation. A heavy silence followed. Itsuka in awe. He can take quirks and give them away? Recovery girl nodding. Yes. And with no limit we can yet detect. It's beyond powerful, but dangerous too. We'll need to monitor him closely. Oboro chuckling, trying to lighten the mood. Welp. Kid's officially broken the power scale. Haruki sighing, wide-eyed, agreed. Our little pup turned out to be a DMN apex predator. Sakura quietly reached for her daughter's free hand. Itsuka said nothing still, but her grip on Izuku's hand tightened, protective, steady, and full of silent promise. And in the soft hum of the machines, the boy in the bed stirred. Just a twitch of his fingers, but enough to make everyone freeze. Recovery girl softly. He's waking up. Izuku's eyes slowly open. Izuku groggily, wa? The room was blurry at first, but his nose worked before his eyes did. The sense hit him like waves. One carried the soft coolness of clouds and morning mist. Another was wild and layered, like countless animals woven into one. A third scent was sterile and warm, an older woman, full of healing herbs, bandages, and something floral under antiseptic. Then came the ones that pulled at his soul, familiar. One was a grounding smell of black coffee and aged wood, steady and strong. Another was light, flowers and candy, warm and safe. And finally, a perfect blend of the two, coffee and blossoms, tangled together. His eyes fluttered open. Izuku blinking slowly. Itsuka? A sharp intake of breath, and Itsuka choking back tears. Izuku! She lunged forward, arms wrapping tightly around him. Her embrace was desperate. Like if she let go, he'd vanish again. Izuku didn't hesitate. He pulled her close, his fur-covered arms enfolding her gently but firmly. Tears traced down both their cheeks, mixing into her hair and his fur. Izuku shaking, crying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Itsuka holding him tighter. You're back. That's all that matters. Neither of them noticed. Izuku was now taller than her, broader, a soft growl in his breath replaced with sobs. But to her, he was still Izuku. Across the room, Haruki and Sakura watched, tears rolling down their own cheeks, soft smiles blooming through the emotion. Then, Together, they moved forward and embraced their daughter and the wolf boy they already considered family. Later, once the tears had ebbed, Izuku looked around, eyes scanning the white room, now full of warmth and love. Izuku, where am I? Oboro with a small grin. UA Medical Wing, little wolf. Izuku, narrowing his eyes. Only one person ever called me that. Oboro just smiled wider. A soft mist enveloped his form, his hair and face fading into a familiar blue haze, until a ghostly echo of Kurogiri stood in his place. Izuku quietly. Kurogiri? Now I know why your scent felt familiar. The mist receded, revealing Oboro once more. Oboro chuckling. You can tell? Izuku deadpan, tail flicking once. I've got a wolf's nose and about 100 other quirks I didn't ask for. I can smell people's history now. Haruki frowning. Wait, what do you mean? 100 other quirks? Recovery. Girl stepping forward, gently. Remember how I said his quirk merged with all for one? Well, the man himself is still alive. But parts of his quirk, his collection of powers, stayed with Izuku. She turned to Izuku with a calm smile. Recovery girl. Sweetie, do you know how many you have? Izuku sat in thought, brows furrowed. Izuku, I think over 1,000. But most of them have fused together. I can't even tell what's what anymore. Some feel like hybrids of quirks. I don't know what's normal anymore. Itsuka leaned in, still holding his hand, smile unwavering. Itsuka softly, we'll figure it out. Together, Wolfie. Izuku blushing, ears twitching. Thanks, Itsuka. Izuku's thoughts, I need to tell her. I like her. And I think she likes me too. I was so dim and blind before I died. Just then, Recovery Girl turned towards Sakura and Haruki, her expression shifting. Recovery Girl, may I speak with you both outside? Nezu and Oboro will stay with Izuku. Young Kendo, stay with him too. They nodded and followed her out into the hallway. Once the door shut behind them, her demeanor became more serious. No longer the doting nurse, but a veteran hero with heavy truths to share. Recovery Girl firmly. I wanted to speak with you about Izumi Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. The atmosphere chilled instantly. Recovery Girl. Nezu's been digging. What we found isn't pretty. Those two have a long history of bullying, beating, and, frankly, nearly killing other students. Izuku was their main target. Sakura's breath caught. Haruki's fists clenched. Recovery Girl sadly. You're probably wondering why they were ever allowed into the hero course. Their school records were spotless. We had no reason to suspect anything until the training grounds and then the USJ. When Omega spoke about them, it wasn't random. There was history. She took a deep breath, letting the next words settle heavily. Recovery Girl. We found that Izuku's entire academic record had been wiped, erased like he never existed. And then, a suicide note. One that was never released, because it exposed everything those two did to him. The people who buried this did it to protect Bakugo and Izumi. Sakura trembled, her hand over her mouth. Haruki looked like he might explode. Recovery Girl, there's even more. So much more. But until their true record arrive, the best we can do is suspend them. But if the Hero Commission, or worse, the villains, get their hands on them, we could be looking at another Lady Nagant. Or something worse. We have no choice but to keep them in UA. She placed a gentle hand on Sakura's arm. Recovery Girl, I wanted you to know before the world finds out. We're going to protect Izuku. But the storm's coming, and we have to be ready. In the room, Nezu, Izuku, I wanted to let you know, for your safety, you'll be staying here at UA. You'll be under the care of Oboro, Shirakumo, and Namiri Shirakumo. To make it official, they've both agreed to adopt you. Is that all right with you? Izuku gave a soft smile, his ears twitching slightly as he looked at Oboro, then at Nezu. Izuku, yeah, that's fine by me. As long as I can still see Itsuka and Auntie and Uncle, then I'm okay with it. Nezu, of course, my boy. You'll always have time with them. And by the time internships begin, the dorm system will be up and running. You'll all be staying together in one place. Izuku and Itsuka exchanged a glance, still holding hands tightly. They both nodded, silently grateful for even a sliver of peace. Oboro, starting soon, there will be a joint meeting between classes 1A and 1B. From now on, you'll all be part of one unit. Class 1 Alpha, 2 new students are being added, you Izuku, and 1 more from 1C. We believe he may actually be Shota, Aizawa's son. Nezu chuckling. Actually, Oboro, I ran the DNA tests. He's not Aizawa's child. Oboro deadpan. When did you even do that? No. Wait. Never mind. I really don't want to know. Izuku muttering. All for One once called Nezu a rat god. Nezu breaks into manic laughter, Izuku sweat dropping. Ugh. Right. Moving on. Oboro. For the next few weeks, all of you will go through daily evaluations and training. But now, Izuku, this next part, it's about them. Izuku's hands clenched, a low growl rumbling in his throat. Itsuka gently. Izuku breathe. Let him finish. The wolf boy took a shaky breath, then another. Slowly, the tension melted away. Oboro reached out and patted his head. The calming touch made Izuku blink before leaning into it instinctively. Oboro grinning. Oh, the little wolf does like head pats. Izuku. I'm not even surprised anymore. Nezu softly, back to the matter at hand. We've been investigating those two, Bakugo and Izumi. We've uncovered a lot, but I can't expel them over past actions alone, no matter how damning. Until we get their real records, they'll be suspended. Officially, we'll say they're recovering from what happened at the USJ. Izuku looked down, his ears folding back slightly in a mix of guilt and rage. Izuku, you don't have to feel bad for what you said to them. I've seen what they've done to you. I've had to patch you up more times than I want to admit. They did real damage, more than anyone else ever saw. Izuku quietly, I do hate them. That hasn't changed. And yes, part of me still wants to hurt them the way they hurt me. But if I do that, if I stoop to their level, how can I ever say I'm better than them? He squeezed her hand tightly, trembling just a little. Izuku, I'm not them. They think strength is power alone. That dimps is what makes someone worthy. But they're wrong. I'm not the weak, broken Deku they crushed. That boy died. He looked up, eyes gleaming like twin emerald fires. Izuku, I'm something else now. Oboro with a teasing grin. Sounds like you're becoming an apex predator. Huh? Izuku, I like that. Oboro half joking, wait. You're seriously calling yourself Apex now? Izuku smirking, yeah, I am. Izuku/Apex. I'm Apex Shirikomo now. After Izuku and Oboro returned, classes at UA were temporarily suspended. In their place, a full-scale operation began. Pro heroes across Japan coordinated raids against every known league of villains, safe house, and front company. Most of them were empty. A few were strange, unsettling. One location, however, stood out, Jaku General Hospital. It was there that the top 10 heroes led the assault. All Might and Endeavor broke through the front line, clashing with 3 nearly complete high-end Nomu. All Might, Detroit. Smash! The first near high-end Nomu took the full brunt of the punch, then began to twitch. Near high-end 1, IMP, Actory, Co. IL. With a warped mimicry of All Might's own strength, the creature struck back with equal force. All Might skidded backward, barely staying on his feet. Endeavor, Hell Spider. In a searing flash, the high end was shredded and reduced to a smoldering heap. The remaining 2 lunged in, but were swiftly dispatched by Hawks, Mirko, and Best Genist. The pros moved room by room, clearing labs and examining evidence. What they uncovered chilled them to the core. Detailed records of Nomu creation, with classifications for volunteers and forcibly transformed subjects. In one room, Endeavor found a file. Handwritten, "The fire burns my skin, but I can't stop. It's all I have." Endeavor froze. A memory surged, his son Toya, skin raw and blistered, eyes filled with pain and longing. Hands trembling, Endeavor flipped to the ID attached. Not Toya. He exhaled, but the burn in his chest remained. After 1 week, nearly all of the League's assets have been seized or destroyed. Mountains of data were recovered, some of it too dangerous to exist. Nezu personally ordered the destruction of specific files, especially those detailing Quirk duplication. A single encrypted copy was preserved under lock and key, just in case. Finally, UA reopened its doors. The students of Class 1A and 1B gathered in a spacious, newly furnished lecture room built to seat 42 students. Whispers floated as they noticed the unused chairs. Then the doors opened. Vlad King, his arm in a cast, stepped in alongside Midnight. Vlad King, before you ask, yes, I can still teach just fine with this. Recovery Girl has me scheduled for more healing later today. Now, on to business. He glanced across the room. Vlad, from today forward, Class 1A and Class 1B will merge. You're now Class 1 Alpha. Murmurs rippled through the room. Midnight. And yes, those extra seats? They're not a mistake. Your class will have 42 students. The whispers grew louder. Tenya Ida, Sensei, what about Bakugo, Midoriya, and Kendo? Shouldn't they be here? Midnight. They've already been informed. Kendo is on campus in the medical wing. She's helping one of your new classmates. The original members of Class 1B shared quiet, knowing looks. Of course, Kendo would volunteer to help. But who needed that kind of help? Momo Yaoyorozu. If this concerns a new student, shouldn't the class representatives be involved too? Midnight. It's not a matter of leadership. It's personal. This student is someone Kendo believed had died. He's alive, but he carries deep scars, mental and emotional. What he went through was beyond horrifying. More murmurs. Unease crept in. Jiroda Shishida. What exactly happened to him? Vlad King. He was turned into a Nomu. Silence. Then a collective gasp, followed by shouts. Everyone, what? Midnight. Please, let us explain. Vlad pressed a button. The screen behind him flickered to life, revealing an image of a smiling green-haired boy. Vlad, this is Izuku Midoriya, twin brother to Izumi Midoriya. He was quirkless. At age 12, his body was found in an alley. Authorities assumed it was suicide, but the truth is, he paused. The mood in the room turned suffocating. Several students looked down, others clenched their fists or wiped at their eyes. Vlad, we now know he didn't die that day. He was taken. He pressed another button. The screen changed. The beast from the USJ attack appeared. Hulking, monstrous, terrifying. Vlad, this is what he became. The Nomu code-named Omega. The room fell into a paralyzing silence. Some students flinched. A few gasped. None could look away. Vlad, the villains turned him into a living weapon. But unlike the others, he kept his mind. They broke him, controlled him with memory suppression and mind control quirks. Every action, every fight, was against his will. Midnight stepped forward, voice steady but heavy with emotion. Midnight, but he's free now. The control is gone. And he's here at UA recovering. He's going to join this class, your class, as a student. Midnight let the silence linger, giving the room time to absorb everything. Midnight, now, he doesn't go by Izuku Midoriya anymore. Well, you can still call him Izuku if he's comfortable with it. His new name is Apex Shirakomo. And, yes, he's now my adopted son. The students were already reeling, but Midnight continued before they could speak. Midnight also, Oboro, you can come in now. A bright flash of blue mist opened in the back of the room. Students instinctively tensed. They recognized that warp gate. Kurogiri. But instead of the smoky, disembodied villain they feared, a man stepped through, tall, calm, and very much human. His hair swirled faintly like mist, and his golden eyes glowed gently. Despite the echoes of the villain who had once threatened them, he looked kind. Setsuna Tokiichi's eyes widened, lips trembling. W8. What? She stepped forward slowly, disbelief cracking her voice. Then her expression crumbled into raw emotion. Setsuna, uncle? Everyone turned to her in stunned confusion. Oboro Shirakomo smiled softly. Hey, little raptor. Well, I guess I can't call you that anymore. You've grown. With a strangled sob, Setsuna sprinted to him, throwing her arms around him. Tears streamed down her face as she buried her head in his chest. Ijiro Kirishima and Tetsu whispered at the same time. Dazed. Kirishima, what is happening? Tetsu. No, seriously, what is happening? Does anyone know why his name is Tetsu? Midnight rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. Midnight, well, Oboro here is my husband. He was declared dead after a villain attack years ago. But the League turned him into a Nomu. There were gasps. Oboro, still holding Setsuna, looked up and faced the room. His expression turned solemn. Oboro, before anyone asks, yes, I was Kurogiri, but I couldn't control myself or what I was made to do. I had no choice at USJ, and I'm sorry for everything that happened. The room stayed quiet, the weight of his words sinking in. Oboro straightened, voice firm with resolve. Oboro, but I'm free now. I'm going to be your new teacher and support gate. And I'm reclaiming the name they gave me. They wanted me to be Kurogiri? Then I'll be Kurogiri on my terms. No one will ever control me again. Azuri blinked, tilted her head. Wait, Ribbit, does that mean Apex Shirikomo is your adopted son now? Ribbit? Oboro, yep. Setsuna, still hugging him, looked up with glassy eyes. So, I have a cousin now? Midnight chuckled softly. Yes, you do. Vlad King cleared his throat, the tone in the room shifting again. Vlad, now, onto a more difficult topic. The students braced themselves. Vlad, after we rescued Apex Shirikomo, we asked about his life before the transformation. What we learned was horrifying. He was bullied relentlessly, beaten, humiliated, and ignored. He often had fresh injuries. The two main perpetrators were Izumi Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. The room erupted in gasps, cries of disbelief, and stunned silence. Some students couldn't process it. Mina Ishido's voice cracked. No way. That can't be true. Vlad, it is true. We've obtained their full academic and behavior records from their previous schools. They show a long history of bullying students, especially those with weak or no quirks. Kirishima whispered, horrified. Bakugo? Ibra. Shiozaki clutched her hands together, lips trembling. That's unforgivable. Vlad continued, gently but firmly. The only people who treated Apex like a human being were Kendo, her family, and his BRTH mother, Inko Midoriya, formerly Inko Shimura. They were his only light in a very dark world. A deep, painful silence fell again. Even the most talkative students didn't know what to say. Vlad sighed. We discussed punishment at length. Expelling them now could have the opposite effect. We risk pushing them into villainy, or worse, the League recruiting them directly. So instead, both Bakugo and Izumi will undergo intensive psychological therapy, monitored by pros. Midnight added, but let me be clear, this is their last chance. If they don't change, we'll have no choice but to remove them and send them somewhere secure, where they won't hurt anyone again. Shoji spoke, his voice low, and Apex still agreed to join us after all that. Midnight nodded. He's stronger than most of us will ever be. But he's not here for revenge. He's here to heal, and maybe to show the world that the worst pain doesn't have to break you forever. A few minutes later, a purple-haired boy walked into the room, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Hitoshi Shinso. Hello, my name is Hitoshi Shinso. I'm going to keep the details of my quirk to myself. Midnight smiled gently. Shinso, these people aren't like your old classmates. Hitoshi gave a small sigh, then nodded. Fine. My quirk is called brainwashing. That's all I'll say. Denki Kaminari started to chime in, but before he could get a word out, Kyokujiro lightly tapped him with her earphone jacks. Kyoka, ignore him. Shrugging, Hitoshi settled into his seat just as Kendo entered the room, looking happier than anyone had seen her in a long time. What caught everyone's attention even more was the young man she was holding hands with, a male version of Izumi, but with a distinct wolf mutation. The girls in the room exchanged quick, shy glances, cheeks flushing. Every girl whispering, "Oh no, he's cute." Kendo noticed the reaction, but said nothing. Izuku/Apex shifted nervously before speaking. Hi everyone. My name's Apex Shirakumo. Nice to meet you all. The room fell silent. Was this really the same monster who had attacked Midoriya and Bakugo? Izuku/Apex continued, voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. I know we got off on the wrong foot, and I'm sorry for that. I'm not the same person I was before I became Omega. He flinched slightly at the name, but I'm trying to rebuild myself. I hope we can get along. About 2 weeks had passed since the arrival of Apex/Izuku Shirakumo and Hitoshi Shinso, along with the announcement that Classes 1A and 1B were officially merging. The shocking revelations about Izumi and Bakugo's past still hung in the air, leaving those close to them unsure how to feel. But despite the drama, the newly merged Class 1 Alpha had been getting along surprisingly well. Apex/Izuku spent most of his time with Kendo, though he'd started to talk with more of his classmates. Everyone agreed he was kind, if a little shy at times. Now, in the boys' locker room, the class was getting ready for the UA Sports Festival. Apex/Izuku nervously fidgeted with his gym shirt. Why am I here again? I just got here. I'm not ready for this. He was clearly excited, but anxiety crept into every movement. Tenya Ida adjusted his glasses, speaking in his usual calm but encouraging tone. It will be fine, Shirakumo. If the teachers believe you're ready to compete, then you're ready. We believe in you, too. Hitoshi Shinso, already half-changed, raised a brow. Dude, you're not the only new guy here. He pulled on his shirt, then paused as he noticed something familiar in his locker. Hitoshi, when did this get here? He asked, holding up a capture scarf. Apex/Izuku blinked. Maybe Dad snuck it in when no one was looking? Hitoshi Shinso found a note attached and read it flatly. Nezu has approved use of this for the sports festival. Good luck, Mini Aizawa. Apex/Izuku groaned, covering his face. What did I say? Cozy Eye Tsuburaba crossed his arms, unimpressed. Okay, but isn't this like blatant favoritism? Ijiro Kirishima shrugged with a grin. Who knows, man? Anyway, do you think Bakugo or Midoriya are gonna Tenya cut in? Tenya Ida. They will not be participating. He readjusted his glasses. Tenya Ida. I spoke with a few of the teachers. They've deemed both unfit for the festival for now. Midoriya is making progress and might return before or after midterms. Bakugo needs more time. No one looked surprised. Apex/Izuku exhaled, ears twitching. I'm not shocked. Casey Bakugo's is taking so long. As I left the locker room, the girls were just stepping out of theirs. Among them, Itsuka Kendo spotted Apex/Izuku and walked over with a warm smile. She reached out and gently took his hand. Itsuka Kendo, you ready to show the world who you are? Apex/Izuku took a deep breath, steadying himself. His ears and tail flicked with nervous energy, but his emerald eyes soon lit up with determination. He looked at his classmates, Class 1 Alpha. Izuku shouts, let's go beyond. Everyone raised their voices together. Everyone, plus Ultra. The merged Class 1 Alpha stepped onto the massive field, greeted instantly by the thunderous roar of the stadium crowd. Present Mick's voice boomed across the arena. Welcome everyone to the UA Sports Festival. Apex/Izuku flinched slightly at the sound, his ears twitching. Apex/Izuku, wide-eyed. There are way more people here than I thought. Rikido Sato chuckled. Well, after that whole villain attack, people want to see what we're made of. Izuku's ears drooped at the reminder. Rikido winced. CRP. Sorry, man. Izuku shook his head, forcing a small smile. It's fine. I have to get over it eventually. Suddenly, the attention shifted as Midnight strode onto the stage, alongside someone unexpected. Oboro Shirakumo, in his civilian form, waved energetically. Hello, everyone. Apex/Izuku's jaw dropped. Wait, Mom? Dad? Masahiro Ojiro blinked. Why is Shirakumo-sensei out in public? Wouldn't the League try something? Apex/Izuku deadpanned. How would the League ever attack UA while Nezu's on high alert? That's suicide. Even All for One fears Nezu when he's ticked. A cold shiver ran through the entire class at the mental image. If all for one feared Nezu, they best not to think about it. Midnight stepped forward confidently. All right, time to get this show started. Oboro grinned. Okay, classes, let's go. With a flourish of his quirk, a warp gate opened beside him, and a giant spinning wheel floated out. Oboro, let's see what the first event is, shall we? Midnight gave it a dramatic spin. After a few tense seconds, it stopped. Midnight grinned. Obstacle race. Apex/Izuku raised an eyebrow. An obstacle race? Must be a way to thin the herd early. Midnight shouted, let's begin. The students moved into position at the starting line. Apex/Izuku turned to Itsuka, tail swishing. Want to run together? Or going solo? Kendo gave him a teasing smirk. Sorry, babe, but I want to show off a little. Apex/Izuka laughed and leaned in, giving her a quick kiss. All right. See you at the finish line. In a flash of green light, Apex/Izuku's body shifted, massive muscles expanding, for spreading across his form as he transformed into a towering emerald-furred wolf. Gasps echoed from the stands and among the other classes, eyes wide at the sight. He wagged his tail, crouching low, claws digging into the ground in anticipation. Then Present Mick's voice echoed across the stadium at full blast. 3, 2, 1, go. Apex/Izuku blurred from the line, vanishing in a streak of green before anyone else had moved. He sidestepped the massive ice wall Shoto Todoroki launched behind him to block the others, not even slowing down. Tenya Ida's eyes widened behind his glasses. He's faster than my brother. As Apex/Izuku pushed his speed using overclock, speed booster, and kinetic hyperdrive, he weaved through the track like a living missile. A massive robot fist crashed down in front of him. Apex/Izuku's mind processed it instantly. Apex/Izuku's mind. So these are the entrance exam bots, like Itsuka said. He opened his mouth and unleashed a powerful, echoing blast, a mix of his howl shock and radio wave quirks, that scrambled the robot's sensors, giving him a clean path forward. Then he saw it. The zero-pointer bots. Apex/Izuku's ears flattened with only one thing on his mind. Oh. F*******. Without hesitation, he dropped into his werewolf form, muscles bulging further as he tapped into several strength-enhancing quirks at once. Muscle. Augmentation X3, spring-like limbs, hypertrophy, kinetic hyperdrive for kinetic booster merged into one quirk. Titanic Surge, 3 Brawn Boost merged into one quirk. Stone Shift and Iron Bloom. He launched himself at the massive robot like a missile. A single punch collided with its head. The resulting shockwave kicked up a hurricane of dust and debris, smaller bots flung into the air like toys. The zero-pointer's head was gone, its giant body crashing backward in a heap. Present Mike practically screamed into the mic. What the hell was that? Aizawa in a deadpan, our nephew being overpowered. Izuku does called Aizawa and Present Mike his uncles. The stadium erupted in disbelief. Apex/Izuku stood in the middle of the chaos, dust swirling around him, tail raised high and eyes glowing like wildfire. Apex/Izuku shifted back into his green wolf form and bolted toward the next obstacle. Present Mike yells, "Here we are, the fall." He skidded to a stop at the edge of a deep pit, stone pillars jutting upward, each one linked by shaky tightropes. Apex/Izuku's thoughts. Okay, simple. Skip the tightropes, just pillar to pillar. Shifting back into human form, his ears twitched and tail swished as he calculated the best path. Before he could leap, Shoto sprinted past, their eyes locking for a brief second. Without a word, Todoroki made a bridge of ice straight across the gap. Apex/Izuku blinking. Okay, that happened. With spring-like limbs powering his legs, Apex/Izuku launched himself from one pillar to the next. Each landing kicked up small clouds of dust before he sprang off again, occasionally using wall crawler to cling to the sides for a better angle. Mid-run, He caught sight of slowly making her way across the ropes. Apex/Izuku deadpan. What? He hopped over, landing beside her. Apex/Izuku. Tsuyu, what you doing? Tsuyu, tilting head, climbing the tightropes. Kero. Apex/Izuku. Your quirk is frog. Why not jump between pillars like me? Tsuyu, I never thought of that. Apex/Izuku smirking. Well, now's the time to try. He took off again, only to spot Hitoshi swinging overhead with his capture scarf, plus 2 extra capture bandages strapped to his arms. Apex/Izuku muttering. Okay, that's actually cool. A few bounds later, Apex/Izuku reached the far side, just behind the fastest competitors, and entered the minefield. Ahead, Shoto was already weaving through with a handful of others. Shifting back into wolf form, Apex/Izuku sniffed the air and pricked his ears, easily pinpointing every mine. Apex/Izuku's thoughts. All right now, his thought cut off as something landed on his back. Glancing over his shoulder, he found Itsuka grinning at him. Wolf Izuku giving the best really look a wolf can. Itsuka, what? You could smell out the mines, and you're fluffy. 2 birds, 1 cuddle. He huffed, a low growl slipping out, but there was an amused glint in his eyes. Together, they navigated the field at a steady pace. Itsuka, babe, you could take first. You're way faster than this. Wolf Apex/Izuku deep, rough voice. Don't want first. Every year, the leader becomes the main target in round 2. I'll take second. Let Todoroki deal with the heat. Itsuka head tilt. Why Todoroki? Apex/Izuku. Because he's obviously taking first. Sure enough, moments later Todoroki crossed the finish. Apex/Izuku hopped in for second, with Itsuka taking third. Returning to human form, Izuku dusted himself off. Apex/Izuku. Now we wait. Itsuka's still on his back. Yep. Apex/Izuku. Wait, why are you still there? Itsuka kissing his cheek. Because you're ridiculously comfy. And your fur? Softer than my bed. Izuku's fur is very soft. Everyone finally crossed the finish line. Midnight and Oboro stepped forward, ready to announce the next stage. Midnight. And the next event is... The giant wolf spun, clicking rapidly before stopping. Midnight. A cavalry battle. Apex/Izuku flatly. Knew it. Itsuka. Team up? Apex/Izuku. Team up. Around them, students immediately broke into chatter, forming groups, calculating points, and eyeing Apex/Izuku for his versatile quirks. Midnight yelling into her mic. Hey, I'm not done yet. She sighed and continued. Midnight. All right, here's how it works. You got points based on your placement in the race. Last place is 5 points. Then it goes up in increments of 5. In first place, she grinned wickedly gets 10 million points. Gasps erupted through the crowd. Everyone turned to stare at Todoroki like predators scenting prey. He, of course, looked unfazed by the sudden target painted on his back. Apex/Izuku and Itsuka shared a look. They already had a plan. Apex/Izuku. We should have about 405 points between us. Itsuka, good. I think we should grab Shiozaki and Shinso. Apex/Izuku. Exactly. Shiozaki's vines can hold attackers back, and Shinso's quirk is a wild card. No one knows its trigger. Together, we're untouchable. Itsuka. True. But watch out if Monoma copies Shinso's quirk. Apex/Izuku. If he does, I'll erase it. Itsuka blinking. Wait, you have Aizawa-sensei's quirk. Apex/Izuku. He's my uncle. He and Uncle Mike both told me to copy theirs. Itsuka. Then why haven't you? Never mind. I answer my own question in my head. Apex/Izuku smirking. Exactly. Let's grab our teammates. Elsewhere, Izumi Midoriya sat alone in a stark white room. Her right hand was gone, cut off by Omega, by Izuku. Staring at the stump, she remembered the doctor's words. Her quirk had been weakened. She used to channel it through her hands, but without her Diamante 1, her control was broken. She needed to retrain from scratch with her left. The room itself reminded her of a mental ward. comfortable enough, but she knew the truth. Quirk-canceling tech was hidden everywhere, ready to suppress her if needed. The same was true for Katsuki. Just the thought of him made her scowl. He'd drag her into bullying Izuku, though her father wasn't much better. He'd always called Izuku a mistake. At least the police had finally locked him away. Izumi, muttering, I should be in jail for what I did, not here. I hurt Izuku, and now the boy I call brother is gone. I hope Katsuki never gets out. This place is worse than prison for him. A knock came before the nurse entered. Nurse, hello Izumi. How are you today? Izumi sighing. Still think I should be behind bars. Nurse softly. You were manipulated, pushed into it. You've shown real effort to change. That's why you're here, not a cell. Now, good news. You've been allowed to watch the UA Sports Festival. Izumi shocked. What? Why? I thought anything UA-related was banned until a month before my release. Nurse nods. Normally, yes. But we believe seeing your brother's progress will help. You regret what you did, and this might ease that burden. You'll see that he's thriving, with friends, with a new family, even a girlfriend. No information has reached you since you learned he survived, so this is a chance. If you're going to rejoin the hero course, you need closure. Izumi fell quiet, then gave a slow nod. Izumi, all right. But will he be there? Nurse, no. Bakugo will stay in his room, for obvious reasons. Izumi sighing, good. He'd just explode knowing worthless Deku is in UA while the future #1 rots in here. Honestly, this place is more of a prison for him than anyone else. The nurse nodded, motioning for her to get up. Izumi followed. Nurse, one more thing. We've prepared a prosthetic hand. It'll look and feel natural, but you won't be able to channel your quirk through it. Not yet. Izumi calmly, that's fine. Many time. Skip. Izumi sat quietly beside a woman with pure white hair and gentle gray eyes. Rei Todoroki. Rei had already been watching the UA Sports Festival before Izumi was brought in, and now they watched together. Rei glanced at the girl beside her. She knew why Izumi was here. She could see the scars, the self-hatred, the guilt, the pain. But she also saw flickers of something else. Little by little, that darkness in Izumi's eyes was giving way to hope, though the wounds hadn't fully healed. Now the second event began. For the first time, Izumi laid eyes on her brother again. He looked like her, yet different, shorter hair, wolf ears, tail, fur, claws. Rei quietly pointed out her own son, Shoto, and Izumi remembered meeting him before. He had only stared at her back then, distant and cold. But her gaze quickly returned to Izuku. He was smiling. A real, genuine smile. One she hadn't seen since before they were told he was quirkless. He stood with 3 others, a boy with messy purple hair and a capture scarf like Aizawa-sensei, a girl with long vines for hair, and of course Itsuka Kendo, standing close to him. Izuku shifted into a massive green wolf as the others handed their points to Itsuka, who climbed onto his back. The cavalry battle erupted, but almost every team charged straight for Todoroki's group, desperate for the 10 million points. Izuku's team, by contrast, stayed on the move. Izuku sprinted across the arena with Itsuka riding, while the vine-haired girl lashed out with her quirk, snatching headbands and blocking anyone who dared close in. The purple-haired boy barely moved, only tapping his foot now and then. Each time he did, Izuku dodged or leapt away at the perfect moment, avoiding attacks. Izumi whispering, that's a plan. He built a strategy around all their quirks and without their quirks. You haven't changed, Izuku. The event ended with the standings announced. Team 1, Shoto Todoroki, Momo Yaezu, Tenya Ida, and Denki Kaminari. Team 2, Apex Shirakumo, Itsuka Kendo, Hitoshi Shinso, and Ibra Shiozaki. Team 3, Tetsu, Ijiro Kirishima, Hantasiro, and Mina Ashido. Team 4, Mei Hatsum, Fumikage Tokomi, Achiko Uraraka, and Yuga Aoyama. Izumi's eyes lingered on the name. Izumi. So, that's his new name. Rei tilting her head. What do you mean? Izumi. I didn't know what name my brother was using now. And I don't think I deserve to. I made his life hell. He was turned into one of those Noma things. If I'd just been his sister, maybe he wouldn't have suffered like that. Rei gently set a hand on her shoulder. Rei, Izumi, you have to stop blaming yourself. She hesitated, then added softly, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I overheard the doctors. They said your brother might allowed to come here. Someday. They think it could help you. Izumi's head dropped. Izumi? Why would he come here? I'm the reason he... Rei wrapped her in a firm hug, cutting her off. Rei? Izumi, listen to me. When I overheard them, I also heard this. Your brother wants to see you. He asked for it. He wants to talk to you. Rei pulled back just enough to meet the girl's eyes. Rei, he wants to see you, Izumi. Your brother still wants to see you. Tears welled up in Izumi's eyes. Slowly, they spilled over as she buried her face in Rei's shoulder, shaking. Rei held her close, whispering gentle words of comfort. Meanwhile, back at UA time for one-on-one battles. Tournament bracket. Round 1. Fumikage Tokumi vs. Achiko Uraraka Round 2. Tetsu vs. Eijiro Kirishima. No joke, I put this through a randomizer, and I got Tetsu versus Eijiro Kirishima. Round 3. Hanta vs. Denki Kaminari Round 4. Mei Hatsum vs. Hitoshi Shinso Round 5. Mina Ashido vs. Ibara Shiozaki Round 6. Momo Yazu vs. Yuga Aoyama Round 7. Apex Shirikomo vs. Shoto Todoroki Round 8. Tenya Ida vs. Itsuka. Kendo before Round 1. Shoto told Apex/Izuku about his past. Round 1. Fumikage Tokumi vs. Achiko. Uraraka Fumikage steadied himself, knowing Achiko could complicate things, but with Dark Shadow, he only needed to overwhelm her. Achiko, on the other hand, had a plan. Dark Shadow was weaker in light, but maybe she could turn his strength against him. Midnight, Oboro, and Cementas took their places while Present Mike and Eraserhead settled into the announcer's booth. Present Mike, all right, everyone. Here we go. Round 1. Fumikage Tokoyami vs. Achiko Uraraka. Fumikage walked out, feathers shifting in the breeze, his quirk rippling under his skin, restless to be unleashed. Achiko stepped forward, nerves evident in the way her brown hair bounced with each breath, but her eyes stayed sharp. Oboro. Victory comes by knockout, immobilization, or forcing your opponent out of bounds. Ready? Midnight, 3, 2, 1, go. Fumikage, Dark Shadow, come forth. Dark Shadow exploded outward, slamming its claws into the arena floor, hurling chunks of rubble into the air. Each strike raised a cloud of dust. Achiko darted between the hits, fingertips brushing each piece of rubble until dozens of stones floated high above. Her breathing quickened. Her quirk was pushing her limits. Then, impact. Dark Shadow clipped her side, sending her sprawling near the edge. Fumikage calmly, surrender. This ends here. Achiko coughed, laughing weakly through the pain. Achiko, no. I've already won. She pressed her fingertips together. Achiko, meteor shower. Release. The sky rained rubble. Fumikage, Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow on it. The quirk wrapped him in a protective cocoon. Dust filled the arena. When it cleared, Fumikage stood unharmed, Dark Shadow retracting into his body. Fumikage, a brilliant attack, but useless against the dark. Achiko pushed herself up and rushed forward, but Dark Shadow snatched her mid-sprint and tossed her out of bounds. Midnight. Fumikage Tokoyami is the winner. Fumikage offered her a hand. Fumikage, you fought well. Achiko smiled faintly and accepted. Winner. Fumikage Tokoyami Round 2. Tetsu versus Eijiro Kirishima. Exactly like canon. Neither back down. Result draw. Round 3. Hanta versus Denki Kaminari. Denki blasted the field with a surge of electricity, striking Hanta before he could react. Hanta collapsed instantly, knocked out cold. Winner, Denki Kaminari Round 4. Mei Hatsum versus Hitoshi Shinso, the same as canon. Mei turning the match into an advertisement for her gadgets, leaving a baffled Hitoshi standing in victory. Winner, Hitoshi Shinso Round 5. Mina Ashido versus Ibara Shiozaki, a short battle. Mina charged, but Ibara's vines wrapped her up and gently dropped her out of bounds. Winner, Ibara Shizuki round 6. Momo Yaozu versus Yuga. Aoyama. Yuga struck first with his naval laser, but Momo swiftly conjured a mirror. The beam ricocheted back, blasting Yuga clear into the 1 Alpha stance. Winner, Momo Yaozu round 7. Apex Shirokamo versus Shoto Todoroki. In his room, Apex/Izuku paced restlessly, green fur bristling. His tail flicked side to side, ears twitching as he prepared. Apex/Izuku thinking, I have to force him to use his fire. I won't let him limit himself. No one helped me when I needed it. But I'll help you, Todoroki, no matter what. The crowd roared as both competitors stepped into the arena. Todoroki walked forward, expression unreadable, cold mist rolling off his right side. Apex/Izuku emerged opposite him, green fur stirring in the wind, tail flicking sharply. His hair hung over his eyes, but his gaze was locked on Todoroki. Present Mike. Now, this is a match, folks. The Wolf versus the Ice Prince. Apex Shirokamo versus Shoto Todoroki. Apex/Izuku's aura crackled. He cycled up 3 quirks at once: Black Lightning, Dark Ball, and Impactor. Across from him, Todoroki's right side steamed, ice spreading across the arena floor. Midnight, go! Shoto opened with a massive wave of ice, roaring across the stage. Apex/Izuku raised his arm, then unleashed a storm of black lightning, the bolts supercharged by Impactor. The current tore through the glacier, melting and shattering it apart. He followed by forming a dark ball, charging it with black lightning and boosting it again with Impactor before hurling it. Mid-flight, the sphere split into several smaller orbs, raining toward Todoroki. Shoto countered with another wave of ice, but each wall shattered as the orbs detonated in crackling bursts. Apex/Izuku vanished in a blur, spring-like limbs launching him forward. With pump-up stacked on Impactor, his strike hammered into Todoroki, driving him through 3 dark ball that detonated in a chain reaction. Shoto slammed into the ground from the impact. Apex/Izuku. Get up, Todoroki. I'm not done. Are you really going to cling to just your ice? Use your fire. Shoto staggered to his feet, BLD on his lip. Shoto, never. I will nev. Apex/Izuku blurred again, his fists slamming into Shoto's jaw, amplified by muscle augmentation. Apex/Izuku. Stop holding back. Use your DMN power. Shoto scowled, BLD dripping as he raised another wall of ice. Shoto, I will never use his fire. The ice shot forward, but Apex/Izuku smashed it apart with his palm. His voice dropped darker. Apex/Izuku. You don't get it, Shoto. I wasn't born like you. You were handed a quirk with no drawback. Me? I was told every day that I was quirkless. Useless. A worthless Deku. And still I fought. I clawed my way here. And now here you stand with power you refuse to use. He blurred again, then unleashed a boom. A massive explosion engulfed the arena. The blast heat so intense it melted and evaporated Shoto's ice. Shoto barely dodged, his right arm scorched by the blast. Shoto shaken. That was Bakugo's quirk. Out of the smoke, Izuku stepped forward, eyes glowing. Apex/Izuku growling. No, it's not his anymore, it's mine. He used it to hurt people. I'll use it to protect them. If I can take the power of my bully and turn it into something good, then you can stop letting your father's shadow control you. This power, it's yours, not his. Shoto's eyes widened. Steam rose from his left side. Heat bled into the air. For the first time in years, fire flickered across his hand. His mind flashed to his mother's words. Flames burst alive from his left half, fire raging as ice, and heat poured out together. Shoto smiled, genuine, free. Shoto quietly. It's been so long since I felt this warmth. He looked at Apex/Izuku, shaking his head with a small laugh. Shoto, you're insane. Helping your enemy. Apex/Izuku smirking. No, I'm helping my classmate. Shoto powered both halves of his quirk to their limits. Ice crystallizing, fire roaring. Apex/Izuku grinned, his voice a low mutter as he stacked his arsenal. Apex/Izuku, spring-like limbs. Hypertrophy, rivet, radio waves, dark ball, air cannon, impactor, kinetic hyperdrive, repulsion, black lightning, explosion. His right arm swelled grotesquely under hypertrophy, multiple quirks merging into a violent glow. Apex/Izuku nuclear strike. Midnight, Cementos. Cementos, already on it. 5 massive walls rose between them, but both boys fired at once. Shoto unleashed fire and ice in a devastating wave. Apex/Izuku hurled his supercharged strike. The attacks tore through every wall, colliding in the center. A shockwave ripped the arena apart, dust and flame swallowing everything. When it cleared, Apex/Izuku was half buried in a wall, pulling himself out with ragged breaths. Across from him, Shoto was unconscious, pinned in broken stone. Midnight, the winner is Apex Shirakumo. The stadium erupted in cheers. Apex/Izuku stood shakily, wounds knitting themselves together, skin stitching over slowly. Apex/Izuku horse. Ow. His legs gave out. Oboro appeared just in time, catching him before he hit the ground. Oboro muttering, "Geez, kid, you went way overboard." With a warp gate, he vanished them both to Recovery Girl's office. Winner, Apex Shirakumo. Round 8. Tenya Ida versus Itsuka Kendo. Ida tried to take Itsuka out with a single strike, but she was ready. After weeks of training with Apex/Izuku, she was accustomed to facing incredible speed. With a precise counter, she sent Ida flying out of the arena. Tiebreaker, Cannon. The match was decided by an arm wrestle, and Ijiro Kirishima won by going all out and proving to be the manliest. Winner, Ijiro Kirishima. Quarterfinal rounds. Round 1. Fumikage Tokoyami versus Ijiro Kirishima. Round 2. Denki Kaminari versus Hitoshi Shinso. Round 3. Ibara Shizuki versus Momo Yaoyorozu. Round 4. Apex Shirakumo versus Itsuka Kendo. Round 1 quarterfinal. Fumikage Tokoyami versus Ijiro Kirishima. Fumikage stepped onto the stage, dark shadow coiling and ready to strike. Ijiro entered, determined to win, though unsure how to overcome a long-range opponent. The two took their battle stances. Midnight go. Fumikage, dark shadow. Dark shadow lunged at Ijiro, aiming for his gut, but Ijiro's hardened abdomen absorbed the blow. Swinging his hardened arms, he struck Dark Shadow's head, forcing the living shadow to recoil back toward Fumikage. Ijiro braced himself, but Fumikage's strategy was evolving. He commanded Dark Shadow to envelop his upper body like armor, compensating for his vulnerability in close range. Expanding the clawed hands, he could strike, defend, and propel himself at high speed. Ijiro, I'm screwed, aren't I? Fumikage, yes, you are. Dark Shadow's claws launched at Ijiro. He crossed his hardened arms to tank the hit, then charged forward, swinging, but Dark Shadow's armor absorbed everything. Fumikage countered, punching Ijiro out of the arena. Midnight, winner, Fumikage. Tokoyami. Fumikage nodded respectfully to Ijiro for his efforts. Winner, Fumikage. Tokoyami. Round 2 quarterfinal. Denki Kaminari versus Hitoshi Shinso. Nothing dramatic. Hitoshi got Denki talking and told him to walk out of the arena. Winner, Hitoshi Shinso. Round 3 quarterfinal. Ibara Shizuki versus Momo Yaoyorozu. Momo entered, crafting a sword to slice through Ibara's anticipated vines. Ibara silently prayed for a fair match. Midnight go. Momo charged. Ibara sent vines from the ground, grabbing the sword arm, but Momo quickly produced a pair of glasses, creating a blinding flashbang. In the confusion, she conjured a smaller sword, cut through the vines, and used the opening to push Ibara out. Midnight, Momo Yaoyorozu wins. Winner, Momo Yaoyorozu. Round 4 quarterfinal. Apex Shirakumo versus Itsuka Kendo. Apex/Izuku stepped onto the field, ready to face his girlfriend. Itsuka readied herself, still amazed that the boy she thought was lost was alive, and now her boyfriend. Itsuka smiling. Hey babe. Apex/Izuka, yeah? Itsuka, let's do this without quirks, a normal, skill-based fight. Apex nodded and smiled. Apex/Izuku. Sure, though I can't turn off my steel bone and wolf quirks, so those are still active. Itsuka, whatever. Let's just fight with our skills. Apex/Izuku. Sure thing, babe. Formed claws, let's do this. Midnight watched, smiling at her son and future daughter-in-law preparing for a pure, quirkless fight, aside from the ones Apex couldn't turn off. Midnight, I accept that. This fight will have no quirks, minus the ones Apex can't deactivate. Some spectators were confused, but most ignored it, captivated by the fight about to unfold. Apex/Izuku and Itsuka faced each other in the center of the arena. The air was thick with anticipation. No quirks, no shortcuts, only skill, reflexes, and raw determination. Midnight go. Apex/Izuka lunged first, claws extended. Itsuka anticipated the strike and sidestepped, pivoting to counter with a quick palm strike. Apex/Izuku blocked it instinctively, the sound of impact echoing through the arena. They circled, testing each other, each movement calculated. Apex/Izuku feinted a high strike, then dove low for a leg sweep. Itsuka leapt, twisting in midair, and landed behind him, aiming a backhand. Apex/Izuku rolled with the blow, springing forward to grab her wrist. Itsuka twisted free, elbowing him sharply in the ribs. Apex/Izuku staggered but recovered instantly, his wolf instincts guiding his reflexes. He spun low, attempting another sweep, and this time connected with Itsuka's ankle. She stumbled but regained balance, spinning and delivering a fierce knee strike. Apex/Izuka blocked, gritting his teeth, both now visibly fatigued but unyielding. They paused for a moment, breathing heavily, eyes locked, two warriors pushing their limits. Apex/Izuka charged, faster now, a flurry of strikes aimed to overwhelm. Itsuka parried expertly, but Apex/Izuku adjusted mid-motion, using her own defense against her. A quick push to the side, a feint, and he swept her off balance. Itsuka recovered, but Apex/Izuku didn't relent. He grabbed her arm during her counterstrike, twisted, and launched her into the air with a practice throw. She hit the ground hard, rolled, and sprang up, but Apex/Izuku anticipated the motion. With a final, perfectly timed sweep and a swift push, he sent Itsuka sliding out of the arena. Midnight. The winner, Apex Shirakumo. Apex/Izuku extended a hand to Itsuka, helping her up. Both were panting, bruised, but smiling, a fight tested in pure skill, and a victory hard-earned. Itsuka then kissed him on the lips for the win. Winner, Apex Shirakumo, Semifinal. Round 1. Fumikiage Tokoyami vs. Hitoshi Shinso Round 2. Momo Yaozu vs. Apex Shirakumo, Semifinal Round 1. Fumikiage Tokoyami vs. Hitoshi Shinso. The fighters stepped into the arena. The crowd hushed with anticipation. Black feathers drifted around Fumikiage as dark shadow loomed behind him, while Hitoshi stood calm, purple hair shifting in the breeze. Midnight go! Dark shadow lashed out instantly, its clawed hand tearing through the air. Hitoshi twisted aside, narrowly avoiding the strike, and snapped his capture scarf around Dark Shadow's head in an attempt to restrain it. For a moment, the shadow thrashed violently, muffled by the binding. Shinso surged forward to close the gap, but Fumikiage countered, his fists slamming into Hitoshi's chest and forcing him back. Hitoshi tried again and again to bait Fumikiage into speaking, straining to activate his quirk, but the bird-headed boy remained resolutely silent. With a roar, Dark Shadow tore free of the bindings and swept Hitoshi off his feet, hurling him toward the arena's edge. Hitoshi scrambled to recover, but couldn't stop his momentum as he tumbled out of bounds. Midnight winner, Fumikiage Tokoyami. Semifinal Round 2, Momo Yaozu vs. Apex Shirakumo Apex slash Izuku strode out, his green fur bristling as the wind swept through the arena. Across from him, Momo walked with calm focus, her ponytail flowing as she readied herself. Midnight go! Momo acted instantly, creating a pair of flashbangs and hurling them to blind her opponent. The blast went off with a sharp crack of light, but Apex slash Izuku's glowing wolf-like eyes didn't falter, adapted to the flare. He slammed a clawed hand forward, releasing a compressed air cannon blast that tore across the arena like a shockwave. Momo quickly formed a large shield to block, digging her heels into the ground, but the sheer force shattered her defense and launched her backward. The crowd gasped as she skidded across the stage and was blown clear out of bounds. Midnight, winner, Apex Shirakumo. Final round, Apex Shirakumo vs. Fumikage Tokoyami. It was time. The final match. The last clash to decide who would stand as #1 of the UA Sports Festival. High above, All Might, in his true form, looked down at the field. His eyes followed the grandson of his late Mestar, stepping forward with unshakable determination. A quiet smile touched his face. All Might's thoughts, Nana, you be proud of him. He's fought brilliantly just like you. The question is, will he accept my offer? A warmth settled in his chest as Apex slash Izuku's confident grin caught the light. All Might's thoughts, no. Somehow I already know the answer. He will. In the stands, Class 1 Alpha erupted with cheers for their two representatives. Excitement buzzed through the crowd, debates flying. Some swore Apex slash Izuku's overwhelming strength would secure victory. Others placed faith in Tokoyami's tactical mastery and Dark Shadow's relentless force. Among them, Itsuka clenched her fists with quiet certainty. Itsuka's thoughts, Izuku has this. He knows Dark Shadow's weakness, and he's stronger than anyone realizes. Far away, deep in shadow, another pair of eyes watched. All for One scowled as the broadcast revealed two familiar Nomo. All for One. Those two. They're the ones who betrayed me to UA and the heroes. His fist tightened, fury shaking through him, only to twist into a cruel grin. All for One. No matter. I'll SDRP away their quirks, crush them all, and slaughter everyone you love. But in that moment, a dark pressure rippled outward, as though Apex slash Izuku himself had sensed the threat, as if his soul promised All for One a slow, merciless end. Elsewhere, Nezu sipped his tea calmly, his sharp gaze fixed on Apex. Nezu quietly. I found my successor. That declaration seemed to crawl across the entire stadium. Staff, heroes, villains, even the Hero Commission, and even All for One, all felt an icy shiver run down their spines. Apex slash Izuku's wolf ears flicked. He froze mid-step, narrowing his eyes as if hearing a whisper only meant for him. Fumikage frowned, unease prickling through him. Fumikage uneased. Why do I feel like something just shifted? Apex slash Izuku exhaled sharply. You're not the only one. Feels like some rat god just claimed me as his heir. The two spoke in unison. Nezu. A beat of awkward silence. Apex slash Izuku scratched the back of his head. Okay. Yeah. Let's just fight before this gets any weirder. Mom? Midnight blinked before snapping back into her role. Midnight, all right. Go. Fumikage, Dark Shadow. Attack. Apex slash Izuku springs aside with spring-like limbs, dodging the strike. In his palm, a sphere of light ignites. He hurls it forward, blasting Dark Shadow back. Dark Shadow reeling. Fumi. What do? He's using light. Fumikage grim. Then we strike harder. Dark Shadow, armor up. Dark Shadow coils around him, forming the same battle armor he once used against Ijiro. Fumikage. This is our ultimate move, Black Abyss. Dark Shadow's massive arms launch forward, surging at Apex slash Izuku. Apex slash Izuku braces, enhancing with spring-like limbs for power, repulsion for reach, and igniting it all into one devastating strike with explosion. Apex slash Izuku. Mega Blast. A colossal explosion rips across the arena. Fumikage dodges barely, but most of Dark Shadow collapses back into him, weakened and writhing. Fumikage alarmed. Dark Shadow in agony. The light, it burns. Apex/Izuku resolute. Darkness can't exist without light, and I am that light. His body erupts in brilliance, radiance pouring from every pore. The crowd gasps. This was no ordinary glow. Fumikage staggered, wide-eyed. And no, it can't be. Apex/Izuku. The first quirk ever recorded. The spark that awakened humanity. Luminescence. Light condenses along his arms, fusing with his bone blade quirk, shaping into radiant weapons. Apex/Izuku roaring. Light blades. He rockets forward, strikes flashing mercilessly, driving Fumikage back. With a final motion, he retracts the blades and launches an uppercut, sending Fumikage flying out of the ring. Midnight shouting, "Winner, and your champion, Apex Shirakumo." Apex/Izuku's thoughts. I did it. Now I'll show them all that victory is mine. He moved his fist high into the air, a gesture of triumph, an echo of the hero he honored most. The crowd erupted in thunderous cheers, the stadium trembling with their roar. From the stands, All Might's smile widened with pride. All Might, you did it. You showed them that you were here. And with that, the UA Sports Festival drew to a close. Thus, another chapter ended. Next part, hero names and family reunion now, then see on the flip side. We see Class 1 Alpha gathered in their classroom, waiting for their teachers to arrive. Kyokujiro. So what did you guys do after the sports festival? She glances toward Tsuka and Apex, thinking to herself that those two lovebirds probably went on a date or something. Apex, I just stay home. I tried to visit Izumi, but the doctors said she still needs more time. They'll let me know when I can see her. I'm just going to type Apex or Izuku from now on. Shoto, I talk with my mother. The classroom quiets as Aizawa and Vlad King walk in. Vlad King. All right, class. You all did great during the sports festival. Aizawa, but now that the world has seen you, it's time for the next step hero internships. Vlad King holds up a remote. Vlad King. You'll each be assigned to a pro hero agency for a week. You'll learn from real heroes, follow their instructions, and see firsthand what it takes to run an agency. He presses the button, and a list of offers appears on the screen. 1. Apex Shirakumo number of offers, 9,954. 2. Shoto Todoroki number of offers, 4,123. The rest follows canon. Tetsu and Ijiro shouts as 1. WHOA. Shirakumo. Your offers are over 9,000. Fumikage mutters, only 360, such as the shadow that follows me. Shoto, the only reason I got so many is because of my father. Apex sighs, yeah, that's the downside of the hero world. I bet 90% of those offers are just people trying to boost their popularity. Everyone, most likely. Aizawa using his quirk, quiet down. Even if you didn't get an offer, you'll still do an internship with one of UA's partner pros. Vlad King nods his head. Exactly. You're all heading out into the real world now. You're not eggs anymore, you're hatchlings, stretching your wings to fly. But you'll all The door slams open. Midnight shouting. Hero names. She struts in dramatically, followed by a chuckling Oboro. Oboro. All right, kids, this is a big deal. The name you picked today could stick with you for your entire hero career. So choose wisely. Right, Shota? Aizawa, already cocooned in his sleeping bag, mutters from the floor. Aizawa deadpan. I didn't choose mine. You and Hisashi did. Oboro grinning. Yep. And that's exactly why Hisashi isn't here today. He turns back to the students, smiling brightly. Oboro. Now, me and Midnight will help you all pick your hero names. Vlad and Shota can jump in if they want to add their 2 cents. After a few minutes after this, everyone is writing down their hero names on their whiteboards. Midnight. Okay, now who's first? Everyone's mind. We need to tell everyone our hero names. Then Yuga Aoyama walks up to the front. Yuga, ready? Yuga flips his board with a flourish. Yuga, the shining hero. I cannot stop twinkling. Everyone, that's a whole sentence. Midnight. Oh, well, I think some changes are needed. Oboro sweat drop. Yeah. Vlad King mutters. Need some work. Midnight takes the whiteboard and makes some changes. Midnight. Okay, I think you can keep the shining hero part, but change your hero name. I'm thinking Azure Light. Yuga twinkling. Oh, thank you, MDM. After that, Tsuyu Azui win next. Tsu. I had this name picked out since I was little. Tsuyu turns around her board showing the name she picked. Tsu. I chose the rainy season hero, Froppy. Tsuyu makes a cute face with her tongue sticking out a bit. Everyone cute. Midnight, approved. Soon everyone shows their hero names. Shoto's name is just his name. Midnight, did you need more time, Todoroki? Shoto, no, I'm just going to use my name. Oboro, you sure, kid? You might not get a chance to change it later. Shoto, this is fine. Oboro deadpan. You don't know what to pick, do you? Shoto just nods silently. Apex raising his hand. Then why not Frostburn? It fits both sides of your quirk. Shoto nods again and writes it on the board. Midnight. Well approved. Now, then Apex, your turn. The wolf boy walks up front, tail swishing slightly, and flips his board around. Apex, for my hero name, I chose Fenrir. Ibara Shiozaki. Is that not the name of a god killer? Why pick something like that? I fixed my mistake of calling Fenrir a god. Sorry that took so long to fix. I've been a bit busy. Apex rubs the back of his neck, smiling sheepishly. I don't really know. It just kind of calls to me. Some people said his name should have been Fenrir, but I think it works more as a hero name than his normal name. Midnight. Well, I approve. Time skip. Apex enters All Might's office. Apex, you wanted to see me, sir? All Might turns from the window, his expression serious. All Might. Yes, young Shirakomo. There's something important I wish to discuss, an offer of sorts. Apex sits down, curiosity flickering in his eyes. A moment later, Oboro steps into the room. Apex, Dad? Why are you here? Oboro. Because, kiddo, I know a bit more about what All Might's about to tell you. Apex, tilting his head, about what? All Might takes a deep breath and hands Apex a photograph. All Might softly. This is my MSTR, Nana Shimura. She was killed by All for 1 year before I became a pro hero. The photo shows a tall, graceful woman with intelligent eyes and a kind smile. Her dark hair is tied in a half-up bun, and her costume, a dark bodysuit with golden accents and flowing capes, gives her an air of both strength and warmth. All Might, gazing out the window, she had a family. Her husband was killed by All for One's followers, and her son was placed in foster care for protection. But Nana also had a daughter. He turns back toward Apex. All Might, that daughter grew up to be your mother. Apex's eyes widen. Apex, wait, that means... All Might nods solemnly. All Might, yes. Your mother, Inko Shimura, is Nana Shimura's daughter, which makes her your grandmother. Apex stared down at the photograph, his breath catching as the realization settled in. The woman in the picture looked painfully familiar, far too much like his mother to be a coincidence. All Might spoke again, his voice grim and heavy. All Might, we also discovered that your uncle was killed years ago. All for One found him and used a quirk to alter his appearance to get close to the family. Another quirk twisted his mind, turning him abusive toward his own family. After that, All for One stole the youngest child's quirk and replaced it with another. When you know all too well. Apex swallowed hard. Apex, what quirk? Oboro answered. Quietly, the weight of the truth clear in his eyes. Oboro, decay. Apex's eyes widened as the memories slammed into him, light blue hair, red eyes, 5 fingers resting on a victim's face. Apex, what? Wait, does that mean Tamura Shigaraki is my cousin? All Might nodded solemnly. All Might, yes, sadly he is. Shock washed over Apex, leaving him momentarily speechless. All Might took a breath before continuing. All Might, young Shirakomo, I'm sorry, but there's something else we need to discuss. Still reeling, Apex looked up. Apex, and what is it? Oboro folded his arms. Oboro, you know what All for One's quirk is and what it allows him to do. Apex nodded slowly. All Might, then tell me, have you ever heard of a quirk called One for All? Apex, no. What is one for all? All Might explained everything, the origin of the quirk, its history with All for One, and its long line of successors. He revealed how Nana Shimura had entrusted it to him, how he himself had once been quirkless. As he spoke, his muscular form faded, leaving behind his thin, scarred, true body. The proof stood right before Apex's eyes. Now, in his weakened state, All Might looked directly at the young wolf. All Might, young Shirakumo, I want to offer you one for all. Apex froze. Apex what? Why me? I already have more quirks than I can count, and I have All for One. If I take your quirk, you won't be able to be a hero anymore. I can't do that. I can't take one for all. Oboro placed a steady hand on his son's shoulder. Oboro, Izuku. Apex turned to his father. Oboro, son, I know you don't think you're worthy, but you are. You put others before yourself every time. And don't forget, you may be the only person who can use this quirk safely. Apex frowned. Apex, what do you mean? Oboro, one for all accelerates the aging of its holder, eventually killing them if they keep it too long. But your body, your quirk, allows you to adapt, to change yourself. In short, you're the only one who can wield it without suffering that fate. Apex eyes wide. Wait, what? But wait, does that mean All Might will die? Oboro shacking his head side to side quickly. No, that only happens when someone has a quirk. And All Might was quirkless, so that will not happen. Apex sighs in relief. Okay, that's good. All Might coughs a bit. Young Shirakumo, what do you think? Apex thinks for a bit. I'll do it. Apex smiles brightly, making All Might think that there was another son. All Might buffs back up and plucks off a hair and holds it out to Apex. All Might, now then eat this. Apex deadpan. Well, I've eaten worse. Time skip. Nighttime UA, Izuku/Apex's room. We see Izuku lying in his bed, his room overflowing with hero merchandise of every kind. On his door hung a poster of a racer head frozen mid-action, his capture scarf coiling around him like a living snake with his quirk activated. The image was impossibly sharp, created by an artist whose quirk allowed them to imprint scenes directly onto paper. And there were many more. One poster showed Mirko leaping from a rooftop, the moon casting her silhouette in silver light as she descended to strike. Beneath the image, bold letters read, Lunafall. Another displayed Hawks soaring through the sky, jet streams trailing from the tips of his wings as clouds parted around him. A third showed Ryukyu split down, the middle one half her calm human form, the other her towering dragon form, scales gleaming. But the majority of the room was dominated by All Might merchandise. Posters lined the walls, shelves were packed with action figures, and memorabilia of the #1 hero filled nearly every available space. On Izuku's dresser sat framed photos of his family. The first captured 4-year-old Izuku and Izumi before their quirk tests. To the left stood Hisashi Midoriya, who looked like an older Izuku with black hair and a neatly kept beard, holding young Izumi's hand. To the right was Inko Midoriya, strikingly similar to Nana, but with the green hair both her children inherited. She smiled warmly, the kind that could lift anyone's spirits, as she held Izuku's hand. The second photo showed only Inko and Izuku at age 11. Inko looked smaller, exhaustion etched beneath her eyes, yet her smile, though heavy with unspoken emotion, overflowed with love for the boy at her side. The final picture showed Izuku, Oboro, and Namiri together, all smiling. Izuku's grin in this photo was brighter than any other, the wolf boy truly happy. There were more pictures scattered around the room of Izuku with Itsuka and the rest of the Kendo family, but for now, the focus remained on the green wolf boy himself, asleep in his bed. Izuku tossed and turned, restless even in his dreams. In Izuku's mindscape, Izuku looked around in confusion. He stood within a vast, void-like space where countless stars shimmered, each glowing in different colors: crimson, emerald, gold, and hues he couldn't even name. Izuku, where am I? A gentle voice echoed through the emptiness. Female voice, your Vestige realm, grandson. Izuku's eyes widened as he spun around. Standing behind him was the same woman from the photograph All Might had shown him. Izuku shocked. "Gee, Grandma Nana?" Nana Shimura smiled warmly. "Nana, hello Izuku. You have no idea how long I've waited to meet you." For a moment, Izuku simply stared. Then he ran forward and threw his arms around her, tears spilling freely as he clung to his grandmother. Nana embraced him just as tightly, whispering soft, comforting words as she held him close. After some time passed, Izuku's crying eased, though he still refused to let go. "Izuku, how are you here? And where's this place, anyway?" "Nana, this is your Vestige realm, the place where your quirks reside." She lifted her hand and pointed toward the stars overhead. "Nana, each of those lights is one of your quirks. That large one, they're the one with green and red arcs, is your BRTH quirk." Izuku followed her gaze. Sure enough, a massive star-like orb pulsed in the distance, crimson and emerald currents flashing across its surface. Izuku whispered, "Wow." Then he noticed another orb, one unlike the rest. It shimmered with countless colors, constantly shifting and alive. Izuku pointed to it. "Izuku, what's that one? And why is it moving toward my quirk?" The multicolored orb drifted slowly toward the red and green star. "Nana, that is one for all." She smiled at her grandson. "Nana, trust me, you're going to want to see this." They watched as the two enormous orbs collided, their lights spiraling together, colors blending and merging until one for all fused completely with Izuku's BRTH quirk. Izuku felt something change deep within him. Moments later, 7 figures began to appear around them. The first was a young man with a frail, malnourished frame, his body weak since BRTH. His messy white hair fell to his shoulders, bangs partially hiding bright green eyes. He stepped forward, his form composed of white fire and drifting smoke before solidifying into flesh. Male User 1. "Greetings, young one. I am Yoichi Shigaraki, the first user and creator of One for All." Yoichi smiled kindly. "Yoichi, now then, young one, it's time for you to learn the full history of One for All." For a long while, Yoichi spoke. He explained the origin of One for All, its bond to All for One, and the lives of every past user. One by one, the others added their own experiences, their victories, their failures, and the price each of them paid. At last, Yoichi finished. "Yoichi, and that is everything." Izuku exhaled slowly. "Izuku. So, in short, All for One. And you have been locked in a battle for generations, one that, unlike All Might's, was completely one-sided." The Vestiges nodded in agreement. Izuku sighed. "Izuku. Okay, then what now? Do I hunt down All for One and kill him?" The second and third users opened their mouths to answer, but both were swiftly smacked upside the head by Nana. "Nana, no. You will not go hunting that monster." She stepped closer to Izuku, placing her hands on his shoulders and meeting his gaze. "Nana, Izuku, One for All has fully merged with your quirk so completely that it can no longer be passed on." Izuku's eyes widened. "Izuku, what? How?" "Nana, One for All has always been a strange quirk. But your quirk merges others together to make room, to adapt. When it encountered One for All, it saw an opportunity to evolve. So it took it." Yoichi nodded. "Yoichi, each of our quirks has blended with the others in this realm, in one way or another." He smiled and gently placed a hand on Izuku's head. "Yoichi, Izuku, don't forget we're here for you. Even if it's only to talk, you're never alone. You are the 9th, but more importantly, you are our family. Please, don't repeat our mistakes. You will need your friends and your loved ones to defeat my brother." The world around Izuku began to fade, the stars dimming until only the past users remained. Nana smiled warmly. "Nana, love you, kiddo. And tell Toshi, I'm proud of him." Izuku smiled back, tears welling in his eyes. "Izuku, I will, Grandma Nana." With that, Izuku jolted awake in his room. Small tears slid down his cheeks, but the smile on his face never faded. Now, then see you on the flip side. Class 1 Alpha was gathered outside the newly completed UA dorms, voices overlapping in excited conversation as everyone took in their new living space. That chatter slowly faded when Vlad King and Aizawa approached, followed by a girl none of them recognized. She had shoulder-length periwinkle hair, sharp bluish lavender eyes, and an air of quiet confidence. Her clothing was simple yet elegant, standing out without being flashy. Aizawa stopped in front of the class. Aizawa, all right, listen up. This is your new classmate, Psycho Intelli. She'll be taking Minetta's place. Denki blinked, confusion written all over his face. He was dressed casually in a black t-shirt, jeans, and his Pikachu jacket. Denki, wait, what happened to him? Apex frowned slightly. Yeah, now that I think about it, he wasn't around during hero name selection. Vlad King bluntly. He was expelled. Aizawa let out a tired sigh. He didn't get far in the sports festival, and he's been reported for repeated violations both in and out of school. Nezu's cracking down HRD on rule breakers. Mineta has been removed from UA entirely. Intelli will be taking his spot. There was no protest. Most of the girls looked relieved, and even several of the boys nodded in agreement. Psycho stepped forward and bowed politely. It's nice to meet you all. I hope we get along. Apex smiled warmly. Welcome to the class. If you need anything, just ask. The class was ushered inside as Vlad and Aizawa explained the dorm layout and room assignments. Aizawa flatly, set up your rooms however you want, I don't care. With that, he disappeared into his own room. Vlad King lingered a moment longer. One more thing, there are pets living here, so be mindful. Ijiro's eyes lit up. Wait, really? Who brought pets? As if on cue, a Redford golden retriever came barreling down the hall and tackled Itsuka, licking her face enthusiastically. Itsuka laughed, Rusty down. That tickles. Apex helped her back to her feet while scratching the dog behind the ears. Rusty barked happily, tail wagging at full speed. Apex explained, this is Rusty, Itsuka's dog. Itsuka added, fixing her hair. He's a family dog. He belonged to my granddad, then my dad. Now he's mine. Pony tilted her head. Wow. How old is he? Itsuka paused, thinking, over 40 years old. What? The class shouted in unison. Apex, you all know Nezu's an animal with a quirk, right? They nodded. Itsuka, Rusty has one too. It's called Life CYCL. When he's about to die, he turns back into a puppy. He keeps his memories, so he's basically immortal. Pony knelt to pet him, and Rusty sniffed her before wagging his tail approvingly. Suddenly, a misty white portal opened above Apex's head. A cloud-like cat dropped out, landing perfectly between his wolf ears. Its fur looked like swirling fog, and its blue eyes blinked once before it curled up and fell asleep. Apex laughed softly and stroked its back. Reiko asked first, so I'm guessing that's your pet, Shirakumo? Apex, yep. Denki squinted. Does he have a quirk too? Apex chuckled, yeah. I kinda experimented a bit. Now he's basically a mini cat version of my dad. I may have by mistake given him dad's quirk. The class stared, then collectively decided to stop questioning things. After everyone finished setting up their rooms, they gathered in the common area. Mina, okay. I propose a room contest. Psycho calmly sipped her tea. If it's all right, I prefer my room not be included. I'm not comfortable having people I don't know well see it. Apex, that's totally fine, Mina declared. Then we'll start with Shirakumo's room. Apex, what no? Apex protested, but it was too late. Apex's room. Apex stood at the door, sighing fine. Just don't touch anything. Only part of the class could fit inside due to the size of the room. The room was warm and familiar, filled with framed family photos, pictures of Apex with Itsuka, and hero posters lining the walls. Most of them featured All Might. Mina, wow, you've got a lot of hero stuff. Toru, yeah. Toru agreed, floating around the room. She paused at a photo and lifted it carefully. Toru, you and Izumi look really alike. Apex's ears drooped sadly. His tail followed. Apex, yeah. Psycho looked at Apex. You have a sister? Apex spoke, his voice quiet at first. Izumi Midoriya. She's in a mental hospital after the USJ attack. Her past came out, and for her safety, she has to stay there for now. The doctors say we might be able to visit her soon. He hesitated. Apex Bakugo, though. He'll be there for a long time. The room fell silent. Psycho finally asked the question no one else would. Psycho, is he ever coming back to the hero course? Apex shook his head no. Ijiro asked gently why. Apex exhaled. Short version? His mental state got worse. He still thinks he was right. Nothing the doctors do is helping. He looked away. Apex, at this point, he's a lost cause. No one asked any more questions after that, though a few people did notice the photo of Nana Shimura. They just didn't bring it up. One by one, the rooms were shown off. When it was Koji Koda's turn, his pet rabbit quietly stole the spotlight. Time skipped to after Apex. All right, so we vote now, right? Mina nodded. Yep. Just write down a room you liked and no voting for yourself. After everyone cast their votes, Rikido Sato ended up winning. A few people complained, mostly because a majority of the votes clearly came from the girls. Apex, so what now? Denki, Hanta, Yosetsu, and a few of the other guys. Guys' night. Tenya, no. We can't just do that. Apex shrugged. It's not against the rules. We could just use the common room. What about you girls? Itsuka smiled. We were actually thinking of doing a girls' night in Yaoyorozu's room. It's the biggest. Apex nodded. All right, babe. If you need anything, let me know. Itsuka nodded back. Thanks, babe. She kissed his cheek before heading off with the other girls. Denki, dude, you are so lucky. Yosetsu groaned. Yeah, man. You've got one of the hottest girls in the class at your... He didn't get to finish. Apex suddenly grabbed Yosetsu by the face, a dark aura practically radiating off him. Apex coldly. Say something like that about my girlfriend again, and I'll remove your ability to have kids. Rikido quickly patted Apex on the back. Rikido, all right, man, I think you got the message. Apex let go. Yosetsu stumbled back, pale as a ghost, muttering something no one could quite make out. Apex completely back to normal. Anyway, what are we doing? Every guy's thoughts. Never mess with his girl. Hanta, Minecraft. Nido Monoma. Yes. After booting up the game, everyone joined in, their avatars reflecting their personalities. Yuga's looked exactly like him in his hero costume for some reason. Tenya picked the default Steve. Mashireo used Steve in a white karate GI. Denki was a Pikachu. He insisted it was a shiny Pikachu. Ijiro's avatar was a red rock golem in his hero outfit. Koji used a farmer skin. Rikido made himself in a chef's outfit. Mizo's avatar looked just like him. Hanta chose Spider-Man. Fumikige's was Dark Shadow. Shoto also picked Steve. He had never played before. Hitoshi's was just a cat. No explanation needed. Apex went with a green werewolf. Yosetsu and Sun both just used themselves. Tagaru picked Jason Voorhees, saying he just liked the movie. Shurai's avatar was completely black. Just pure black. Jirota used a brown werewolf in a suit, earning a fist bump from Apex. Nairenjiki had Steve in a boxing outfit. Cozy Eye used a villager outfit. He claimed it was from a lost bet and just stuck with it. Tetsu's avatar was literally made of steel blocks. Manga's looked like it was made out of comic panels somehow. Juzo used a villain skin called Patchkin, an evil scarecrow with a carved pumpkin head. Kojiro used a prototype version of his hero outfit. Nido's was himself in a suit, which members from Class 1B confirmed was his hero costume. Hiryu chose a green dragon. And just like that, guys' night officially began. Apex joining the world. All right, we all in? Hiryu, yep. Jirota, I'll get wood. Apex, I'll help then I'm mining. Nido, I'm already doing that. Yosetsu, Nido. Guys, he's mining straight down. Apex. Oh, we're doomed. A moment later, Shoto died from fall damage. Apex, SHO. Shoto tilted his head. What? Denki, dude. You just walked off a cliff. Shoto, so? Apex. Again, I say we're doomed. Denki clapped his hands. All right. Everyone get wood, then we mine. And no mining straight down. If you do your band. After that, everyone actually got to work. Apex stuck close to Shoto, showing him the basics while the others gathered resources. 2 hours later. Apex, run. Get that Enderman. Ijiro, I got him. Ijiro leapt down from a tree and took it out in one clean hit. Apex and half the guys. Let's go. Yuga is sprinting past with about 10 zombies chasing him. We have a small problem. Apex. Where did they even come from? Shoto calmly turned and nailed all 10 zombies with clean hits. Shoto, did I do that right? Apex. Heck yes, Sho. Rikido. Alright, I've got fire resistance potions. Manga. Wait, how? Rikido. Been hunting witches. But I've only got 7. Apex raised his diamond sword, swinging it dramatically through the air like a battle speech. Apex. Then men. We take the nether. The guys roared in approval and charged through the portal built by Nito, Tetsu, Juzo, Mashireo, and Mizo. Mizo. Alright, don't attack the zombie piglins, or we're dead. Shoto noted. Nito suddenly paused. Wait, is that? Then he took off running. Nito, guys, I found a nether fortress. Apex, everyone on Monoma. They stormed the fortress, looting everything they could and gathering blaze rods. After that, they hunted piglins, trading for ender pearls. Apex, alright, hand them over. Everyone tossed him their loot, and he quickly crafted the Eyes of Ender. From there, it didn't take long to find the stronghold. They rushed through it, located the portal room, filled in the eyes, and jumped. Apex, I'll get the end crystals. The fight didn't last too long. Between teamwork, chaos, and a lot of yelling, they managed to bring the dragon down. Though not before Denki got absolutely launched off the map by the Ender Dragon, which had everyone laughing. As the guys celebrated their victory over the Ender Dragon, we cut to Momo's room, an hour or two earlier. Momo's room 2 hours before. We see all the girls of Class 1 Alpha gathered in Momo's room, which was noticeably larger than a standard dorm thanks to the heiress paying for a few upgrades. Most of them were chatting casually, bouncing between random topics, while also getting to know Psycho a bit better. Off to the side, Itsuka and Momo were talking about schoolwork when Mina suddenly jumped up, clapping loudly to grab everyone's attention. Mina, okay. Time for the juicy stuff. She pointed dramatically at Itsuka. Mina, you, and Shirakumo. Itsuka sighed. Really? That's what you want to talk about? Mina nodded rapidly. Yes. Itsuka rolled her eyes but gave in. Fine. At that point, everyone's attention shifted to them. It wasn't like they had anything better to do. Mina leaned in. So what do you two do for dates? Itsuka shrugged. Normal stuff. Movies, dinner, lunch, going to the park. Sometimes we just stay home. Especially when Izu's wolf instincts act up. She paused for half a second. Itsuka, or when his mating instincts kick in. Mina blinked. Then Mina what? Itsuka's face turned bright red as she realized how that sounded. Itsuka, wait no. We haven't done anything like that. Toru tilted her head. Then what do you mean? Itsuka let out a breath, still blushing but calmer now. Itsuka, Izu's main quirk is a wolf type. He can't turn it off, I'm not even sure why, but it's deeply tied to him. He has instincts because of it. So, when someone tries to hit on me, he gets really protective. She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. Itsuka, wolves will fight anyone who tries to take their mate. Even though we haven't, he still sees me that way. So when that happens, we usually just cut the date short and head home. Mina smirked slightly. Okay, but what if someone like one of us hit on him? Itsuka thought for a moment before answering honestly. Itsuka, if it's someone I don't know, I'd probably just drag him away or kiss him to make it clear he's mine. But if it's one of you? She paused. Itsuka, I'm not sure what I'd do. Mina grinned. So I could kiss him if I wanted? Itsuka shrugged. Yeah, I'd probably knock you out after, though. A few girls snickered at that. Momo, however, spoke up more thoughtfully. Momo, Kendo, I feel like there's more to this than just that. Itsuka looked away for a moment before sighing. Itsuka, yeah, there is. Mina immediately leaned forward. Tell us. Itsuka rubbed the back of her neck. All right. It's just kind of hard to explain. She took a moment to think. Itsuka, you know how some quirks require the user to have more than one relationship for their health? Most of the girls nodded, though a few looked unsure. Itsuka, Izuku's the same. He needs more than one relationship, for both his health and mine. Silence. Then every girl what? Itsuka winced slightly at the reaction. Itsuka, I know it sounds weird, but quirks are weird. And you know how unusual his already is. Recovery Girl told me herself, if he doesn't eventually expand his relationships, it could cause problems down the line. She crossed her arms, trying to stay composed. Itsuka, Izuku's fine right now. If things get intense, he can take medication to keep it under control. But eventually, when things progress, I probably won't be able to handle everything on my own. She exhaled. Itsuka. So yeah, my boyfriend will need a HRM. The room went completely silent. A full minute passed before Momo finally spoke, a bit stunned. Momo, I said. Itsuka sighed again, softer this time. Itsuka, look, I trust you all. I know none of you would mess with his feelings. So, if any of you ever do want to try a relationship with him, you can. She looked around at them seriously. Itsuka, but you have to talk to me first. Okay. One by one, the girls nodded. Psycho raised her hand slightly. Psycho, I think I would prefer to wait before considering that. Everyone looked at her. Psycho, mainly because there are too many unknowns. I don't know you or Shirakumo well enough yet. I'd like to understand both of you better before even thinking about something like that. Itsuka gave a small, appreciative nod. Itsuka, that's fair. Thanks, Intelli. Time skipped 1 week. It had been over a week since the Hero Corps students moved into the dorms. For the most part, everyone had adjusted pretty quickly, though there had been more than a few arguments over food. Now it was time for internships. All the students stood inside the train station, their bags ready, while Aizawa and Vlad King faced them with final instructions before they departed. Vlad King, all right, class. You've all worked hard, and now it's paying off. For the next week, you'll be working at hero agencies, learning how they operate, what patrols are like, and everything you'll need when you go pro. But that doesn't mean you can act like fools. You represent UA as a whole. So don't do anything stupid, and listen to the heroes you're assigned to. Class 1A, yes, SIR. Vlad King nodded, good. You're dismissed. The students began heading off toward their trains, some already boarding while others waited. Itsuka sat beside Apex, her head resting gently on his shoulder. She slipped her hand into his, lacing their fingers together. Itsuka, you sure you'll be okay? Apex smiled, tightening his grip slightly. I'll be fine. It's just an internship. Itsuka rolled her eyes, with a pro you won't even name. You still haven't told anyone who you're interning with. Apex sighed. Yeah, it's kind of a 2-in-1 deal. But hey, it'll help with my core control, so why not? Itsuka gave him a flat look. That tells me absolutely nothing. Apex chuckled. I promise I'll tell you after it's over, all right? Itsuka sighed, fine. Just then her train pulled in. Itsuka, well, that's mine. See you, babe. She leaned in and kissed him on the lips before heading toward the train with Momo. Apex, see you, love. He waved as Itsuka and Momo boarded. Itsuka turned back with a smile, waving at him, while Momo gave a small wave to her cheeks slightly red. One by one, the others left as well, until Apex was alone by the time his train finally arrived. He stepped on and noticed a tall, blonde, extremely muscular guy entering the same car. The guy looked around like he was searching for someone, then lit up when he spotted Apex. Blonde, hey, you're Apex Shirakumo, right? Apex nodded, a bit confused. It wasn't exactly a common look. There weren't many people walking around as green werewolves. The blonde's grin widened. Mirio Togata. Nice to meet you, Kohai. I'm Mirio Togata, a third year at UA. I do my work studies at Sir Naitai's agency. He told me you'd be coming, so I figured I'd meet you early and get to know you. Mirio's energy was infectious. Apex didn't even realize he was smiling back. Apex, nice to meet you, Togata-senpai. Mirio laughed. Hey, just call me Mirio. I'm not big on honorifics. Apex nodded. All right then, just call me Apex. Mirio held out his hand. Deal? Apex shook it. Deal. The two quickly fell into conversation, becoming fast friends as the train carried them toward their destination, completely unaware of what the next week would bring. Meanwhile, in another location, a short, bald man in a pristine white lab coat moved quietly through the dim laboratory. His goggles, thick, mechanical things shaped like interlocking gears, glinted faintly under the sterile lights. Every step he took echoed softly against the cold floor. He stopped before a large glass tube. Inside, suspended in murky green fluid, floated a monstrous figure. It was humanoid, but only in the loosest sense. Its massive, blackened body was riddled with scars, muscle fibers twisted unnaturally beneath its skin. The top of its skull was peeled open, exposing a grotesquely pulsing brain. No eyes, no expression, just emptiness. Tubes and wires pierced its flesh, feeding into it, sustaining it, controlling it. The man adjusted his goggles and muttered under his breath, flipping through a worn set of notes. The man exhaled slowly, his breath fogging the glass. "It will never be perfect," he whispered, "but it will be enough." The creature twitched faintly in the fluid. He turned away. Row after row of pods stretched into the darkness. More Nomu, each one different. One with massive wings curled behind its back. Another pale and distorted, for eyes embedded unevenly across its face. And then, the next section, the lighting dimmed further. The pods here glowed with a sickly purple hue. Inside them were things far less human. Black, bloated creatures floated in the liquid, round bodies with distended bellies, serpentine heads, and no eyes. Only wide, unnatural mouths stretched across their faces, filled with jagged teeth. Bat-like wings sprouted from their backs, twitching occasionally. Some had extra arms, too, for more. One stood out, larger than the rest. 6 arms. Additional wings. Its skin bulged, strained white, bony tips pushing outward as if something inside was trying to break free. The man paused. He checked his notes, then nodded once. Almost complete. Without another word, he moved on. A heavy door creaked open. Inside, the room was bathed in the glow of countless screens. At the center was All for One. Medical devices surrounded him, and wires snaked around him as he took deep, low breaths. He didn't turn. He didn't need to. Every monitor displayed fragments of the world heroes, villains, chaos, order all under his watchful gaze. He spoke calmly, his voice low and suffocating. All for One. Dr. Garaki, is the next phase ready? The doctor immediately bowed his head. Dr. Garaki, yes, my lord. The Nomu are nearing completion, and the bombers will soon follow. A slow, chilling smile spread across All for One's unseen face. All for One, good. The screens flickered. Then suddenly they all changed. A single image filled every display. Apex, frozen, centered, targeted. His voice grew darker and colder. All for One, you will learn what it means to suffer. The screens shifted again. 2 students at Suka and Momo talking, unaware. Another midnight and Oboro, caught in a quiet moment. More images followed. Friends, classmates, allies, every connection, every weakness. He continued, his voice dropping into something colder, heavier. All for One, all of them, will share your pain. The monitors pulsed with their faces. One by one, All for One, piece by piece. I will take everything from you. A pause. Silence. Then, his voice became a whisper. All for One, I will teach you what happens when someone dares to make a fool of me. This marks the end of part 1 of What If Deku Had Wolf Mutation Quirk. A big thanks to Freddy Doom 5 for granting the permission to feature this amazing fanfiction. Please like the video and subscribe to Deku Universe for more interesting stories. Thank you, and see you soon.